Tonight's episode of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club is brought to you by Drew Estate. Come experience the rebirth of cigars at www.drewestate.com and download the free Drew Diplomat smartphone app today to discover nearby retailers, RSVP to special events, redeem points to win exclusive Drew Estate merchandise, and much, much more.
Might be a big mistake, but I'm having too much fun to wait. Flag her down when she comes back by. That one's yours and this one's mine. Bring another round. Bring another round. Bring another round. Bring another round. Bring another round.
Here's to us. Suckles!
Good evening, brothers and sisters of the Leaf, and happy Halloween! Coming to you live from Haddonfield, Illinois, home of both Michael Myers and Earl's Bar. It's the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. Tonight, the boys talk their way through Halloween 2018 while celebrating Halloween 2018. Confused yet? I know I am. Why couldn't they have just called this new movie something other than just Halloween? Am I right? Well, anywho, our crew of intoxicated horror hounds will dissect the latest Halloween film as only they can, while smoking Tatuate's The Michael cigar, paired with a truly terrifying amount of Evil Catfish IPA from Barrow Brewing Company. Sounds like it's going to be one hell of a good time, folks. So sit back, light 'em up, and enjoy the show.
Howdy, partners. I'm country western music superstar Trace Atkins, speaking on behalf of my friends at the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. When my buddies are putting on a long 4-hour shift on the job site, there's no other podcast they trust to deliver the laughs, deliver the entertainment, deliver the expert knowledge that the TNCC boys bring to the table week after week. So when you're looking for a good time around the campfire, take it from me, country western superstar Trace Atkins. The Tuesday Night Cigar Podcast is as reliable as a cheesecloth condom. Good night and God bless America.
Dude, what was that?
That was a new introduction from our official spokesman, country western music superstar Trace Atkins. He's back.
That was totally you. We're live.
They don't.
No. This is, you can't do that anymore. We're live. They're watching us.
It's a live show, buddy.
Right now.
Ain't no Trace Atkins on the table. Ain't no, hey partner, how you doing? It's just Kate, how you doing?
Okay. Agree to disagree. Seeing as how it's a special night, it's our first live show we've ever done. I'm thinking of bringing back another character from the old days. You're gonna be excited about this one, Yaks. Our fans over the years have loved cigar reviewer who only describes cigars as if he's answering a puzzle on Wheel of Fortune guy. And for one night only, he's back. Yak Boy, ask me what I'm getting off the cold draw of a cigar.
What are you getting off the cold draw of the cigar?
A faint note of hay with raisin-like sweetness. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, eh?
I honestly did not miss Wheel of Fortune guy.
Ask me to describe the cigar's flavors. Do it.
Please describe the cigar's flavors.
Woodsy notes of cedar with a slight hint of roasted coffee beans. Do 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 do.
I really, really honestly did not miss Wheel of Fortune guy.
You didn't miss him. You still don't like Wheel of Fortune, guys? Man, you guys don't like anything tonight.
I didn't know there was a Wheel of Fortune guy.
Oh, did you miss it? You want me to do some more?
No, my goodness, no. I'll
Okay.
take your word for it. I thought that was brain damage guy.
You want some more Wheel of Fortune, guy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like doing the Facebooks.
The Facebooks.
Facebooks.
But from what I remember our fans really going nuts after Wheel of Fortune guy.
Let's
I
just
tried it.
leave it to the professionals
Thank God
over
I
here.
fixed that.
Well, welcome everybody to the. Well, kept doing the. Welcome everybody to the.
Oh,
He's not here.
He's not here. He's not here. I promise you. He's like Michael Myers. He's lurking in the shadows. Boo. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast, episode 82. And it is the final night of our countdown to Halloween bootacular and spooktastic drinking extravaganza. Or something stupid like that. The countdown's over, really. We're here. We counted down to this episode.
yes.
So really, I probably shouldn't have called this episode The Countdown. We're here.
Have a happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Have a happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Do, 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 do.
Happy Halloween, everybody. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, welcome. We're giving it a whirl. Because we have cigar in our name of our podcast, we can't really promote the show or reach outside of our little bubble very well, so we thought we'd give this a shot. For all you other folks, this will come out on Halloween, just like every other episode. YouTube, iTunes, Grindr. We still on Grindr?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is Grindr, Yak Boy?
It's a device that you put coffee into.
Although our viewership's kind of stiffened up, we are still on Grindr.
You can make sausage too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of sausage in it. Over there.
I'm with the tech.
Tonight, tonight we are going to be talking all things Halloween. Literally, we're going to walk our ways as best we can through the new Halloween 2018 film. I'm hoping all you guys made it to the movie theaters.
I did.
I did.
Yes, I too saw the movie.
And I actually...
Filthy liar.
I stopped on the way down here and had a pretty heavily trafficked travel plaza, or plaza, however you say it.
I've heard of both ways.
And I was wearing a sandwich board advertising tonight's show.
Really?
Yes. I wasn't wearing anything else,
Well.
so I don't know if it's going to attract negative or positive attention.
You guys should be taking tips from this guy. Well done, dog.
Thank you.
Well done. You get an extra IPA tonight.
Suck up.
I'm a man of science, Tut. We got to go out and go out and experiment.
As folks who watch or listen to the show regularly will know, we walk you through a film, have fun doing it, and while we're talking all things about the film, we are smoking a premium cigar paired expertly with the film, and then we're drinking a craft beer paired expertly with both the film and the cigar. It's a multi-tiered pairing system, which our announcer Keith A. Howe would tell you, just by definition, a pairing is two things. We really need to come up with a new term for we pair three things. By definition, three things can't be a pairing.
What do we call it?
Why are you pointing out immediately after you say something what's wrong with it? And it's multi-tiered. It sounded really good.
Because we've reached our goal. Would we call it a trifecta?
No.
Oh.
You were doing great there, buddy.
You lost your extra IPA. You can earn it back, but we'll see how it goes.
I do not like this merit system one bit.
Tonight we are smoking the Michael cigar by Tatuaje. How fortuitous we have ourselves a Michael cigar by Tatuaje.
Have you smoked this before?
Yes, one.
Okay.
I can guarantee none of you guys have.
I can guarantee I have not.
How can you guarantee that? Maybe I did smoke it.
You
I just
didn't.
haven't told you.
You didn't.
Ah, son of a...
The Michael is the 10th release in Tatuaje's Monster series of cigars. Every year the company releases a new monster upon the premium cigar world. Last year was the Kruger. And before that, we had such familiar names as the JV13. Can you guess which one that represented, Doctor?
Jason Bates.
Old Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I thought it would be
Jason
Bates.
Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees. Then there was the Mummy, the Drac, the Frank, the Face, short for Leatherface, of course.
You and I we did a series.
We did, and so on and so forth. I'll get to that in just one sec, Doc. This year's release is The Bride, Frankenstein's Bride. It just hit store shelves a week or two ago, and it is allegedly the final Monster cigar release. So if you're waiting anxiously for the Pinhead or the Madman Mars cigar, you're shit out of luck. But I think we've all seen enough horror films to know that true monsters never die. I'm sure these will come back.
How many people other than me got the Madman Mars right?
Dude, I knew I'd get a laugh out of you. Maybe you can sing a little bit of that for us at the end.
Legend goes, beware the Madman Mars.
Very good slasher film, Madman Mars. Go check it out. Well, as a giant man-child whose greatest passions in life are cigars and horror films, y'all can imagine what a fan I am of all this craziness. Pete Johnson, the madman behind Tatuaje, released only 666 dress boxes of the cigar. That's what you're looking at here on Facebook Live or on YouTube in the middle of the table. That is the Tatuaje dress box. That has, of course, the face of Michael Myers. Each one's different according to whatever monster is going on. So 666 of those were made and sent to the unlucky 13 chosen cigar shops. Every year they change. They pick 13 shops around the country, and they're the ones who get those.
Yeah, that's
those
very
boxes.
unlucky.
It's ironic. It's ironic, unlucky. They're very lucky. And then I believe 5,000 plain boxes of these also are then shipped out to other retailers. So you can still get, if you don't get one of the dress boxes, you can still get the cigars just in a much dressed down packaging. Being a diehard lifelong Halloween fan, I've been tempted to chase down some of these dress boxes, the Leatherface one especially.
Oh yeah.
Over the years, but
could you imagine an Ash versus the Evil Dead, and it's like
see, that's why I doubt this series is going to end. There's just too much to still do out there.
Gold mine.
Bruce the Shark from Jaws. I mean, how do you not do a Jaws cigar? But when I saw this one, as obviously a Halloween fan, I knew we had to get it for the Corner of No Hope. Also, speaking of monster cigars, if you'd like to get the TNCC's thoughts on all pretty much the previous releases, go to the website. Doctor, was it last year or the year before we did that?
I want to say last year.
We
kind of dragged that out a while.
It did. We got our hands on the Lanceros
Probably was the year before last.
Of every previous monster release, and basically the doctor would write a review for an entry like the Chuck cigar. He reviewed Chucky Part 2 in Child's Play Part 2. I'd review the cigar. They're on the website. There's a shitload of them on the website. We've pretty much tackled every single monster. And speaking of the doctor and myself, we are almost done with our Halloween series on the website, where the doctor reviewed every single Michael Myers featured Halloween movie, and I expertly, perfectly paired a Drew Estate cigar that we acquired while on the road with them all year long to each Halloween movie. We made it work. It's been fun. We got 2 more to go. H2O and one which we shall not mention. It's not worth the breath it takes to say the name of that piece of crap movie.
I think we can mention it. It's not worth mentioning anything else that happened.
Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah.
We still got 2 to go.
It was kind of interesting. I saw I won't say the name of the website that I saw, but they did their Halloween rankings. And yeah, I like the Tuesday night rankings better.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to say I like theirs much better.
I really like the way they did stuff so much better than you guys. Last thing, the Michael. It is a 6.5 by 52 Toro. It's a big son of a gun. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and fillers.
Cool.
Much like the real Michael Myers, who was, I believe, 75% Nicaraguan.
That's not true at all. He was from Illinois.
Haddonfield.
Boy, I am just...
kid.
I can't win with you guys tonight. Cannot win with you guys
You can
tonight.
score points with me if you get me one of those Evil Catfish IPAs.
Yeah, boy, well, I'm getting Tut an Evil Catfish IPA. Could you tell us a little bit about tonight's beer?
It's Evil Catfish IPA.
What?
I'm
They
supposed
don't
to say
call
more.
this guy the #1 beer analyst in the world for nothing, folks.
Yes, Evil Catfish IPA made by Barrow Brewing in some little town that nobody knows about. No one cares.
The village of Salado.
Yes, the village of Salado. No, in the wonderful, historic,
what happened-
scenic village of Salado.
What happened to that money I gave you for comedy lessons? Because you clearly spent it on something else.
Yes.
And the sniping has begun already, folks. It's going to be a red letter show.
I'm sorry, he insulted my hometown, folks.
Actually, I think it was.
He's a Saladoan.
I'm a Saladoan. Actually,
Salado-white.
You guys make your own pecani sauce down here too, don't you?
not that I'm familiar with. If you'd like, I could whip you up some pecani sauce. I call it salsa. The Barrow Brewing Company is literally in walking distance from the corner of No Hope.
It is. We love it.
Assuming we like the beer, I can maybe go there again someday. So far, we've hit home runs with their stuff. The Farm to Market was, I think, the last one we did, which we really liked.
Hell, I'm walking down there right now.
See you later. Sit your ass down.
Did the Mystery of the Deep.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yes, double IPA. Can't go wrong.
Love that one.
Firing this sumbitch up.
But this one,
and the ski boat.
yes, and the ski boat. But this one, just there is their flagship IPA, the Evil Catfish. It is 6.3 ABV and 57 IBUs. So I mean, it's hop. It's got some hop, but not enough where it's just gonna burn your tongue or anything. But Barrow started up in 2014 and has been brewing strong ever since. They have started to expand out to do more outside events, and
They always got something going on down
always got something going on. It's amazing that they got started with and created a brewery inside of a little pole barn, what used to be a pole barn granary, which is still standing. Still just looks like an old barn.
Yeah, it's got the Purina sign on the side. It was actually a theater before.
Excuse me, guys. Viewer Rev Java asks, what other beers does Barrow Brewing make besides IPAs?
Tell Rev Java he just said all that.
Oh, I wasn't totally listening.
Jeez. Tell Rev Java to get the hell out of here.
I don't think that's the kind of way we should do a live show.
Oh, I was
No,
thinking
you're
we
supposed to
do
be
like a
like-
Howard Stern thing where we're rude to our listeners and they'll eat it up.
Oh, that's.
Well, maybe
I'm sorry,
if we're
Rev.
making Howard Stern money and we're like in space.
I
like
am
Howard
0 for
Stern.
4 tonight. Rev, we love you. We love you, Rev
I
Java.
tried, Rev.
We love you, Rev Java.
Jeez.
Rev, Mystery of the Deep double IPA is my favorite. Ski Boat.
Ski Boat Blonde Ale.
Farm to Market. Is that is it pomegranate?
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate.
They got the Tipsy Vicar Stout. They've got
When it's in season,
Salado Bock.
they have an IPA when it's in season called the Stone Carver, which is
Yes.
amazing.
I like that of the lakes thing. No, I mean I'm sorry.
Creek Don't Rise.
Yes.
Creek Don't Rise Lager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then they've got two very great Hefeweizens. They've got the 784, and they've got the Hat Tip, which is fantastic.
They've got a really impressive facility there. If you're ever in Salado, they've got their own pizza company now there. They got an on-site coffee truck, and
as I said before, Salado is not just beautiful, it is also historic. It is the last surviving Stagecoach hotel still in operation, not for stagecoaches obviously, but
well, obviously.
See, Cade, you catch more flies with honey. Asshole.
It is a special little place, and please do come and visit. It's also home to a fairly popular internet podcasting celebrity who we won't name.
I think you're like waiting for us to
I don't
name
live here.
him.
I'm pretty sure you said, this was my hometown and all. Yeah.
It's the hometown of Matt Cade. Oh, wait. They can see me.
Yeah.
All right. Adios.
Can you put a CGI little Trace Adkins?
No. If I was CGIing anybody, it would be Richard Dawson.
Yeah.
Sweet Richard Dawson.
All right. How do you guys like the beer?
It is good. It is good.
Get it, Michael Myers, Evil Catfish. See how it all works together?
No, that's not what I was thinking about at all. No,
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Was that towards the beer or his
Yeah.
efforts to?
Yeah.
all of it together.
Not that it's a bad IPA. It's just that temperature's starting to come down. It was all rainy. I'm looking for a little.
All right.
something.
Well, here's the thing, Doctor. You haven't been here in a few episodes. Tut has hated every beer for like the last 10 episodes.
That's because of him.
We did a porter last week that who likes porters and likes coconut.
Oh, it's too much coconut.
All right. Week before that, what did we do? The Summer Solstice.
Yes.
Which is a California beer, and it's like a lager, but it has some cream ale type things.
Oh, I hate cream ale. I hate this. Hate everything.
2 questions. 1, when did Tut start sounding like Super Dave Osborne? And 2, has he really been the same ever since he slept on the airport floor after that Connecticut barn smoker?
It's a good point. I think you don't like beer. You don't like beer anymore.
No, Doc called me out like 3 episodes ago
For saying you liked everything, and now you don't like anything.
Well, no,
you
it
went
was
from one
like-
extreme, like,
Did I do that?
Yeah, I was like,
You really did.
Yeah, this, and basically you're like, oh, so basically, if it was the last beer on earth, there was no other taste buds in
Yes.
your mouth, you would actually
Okay.
buy this, and not.
That
you were
wasn't
like,
calling anybody out
You were
for
like,
liking
stop
everything.
catfishing around. Get it? Catfish, and just say that you don't like the beer. So I'm like, you know what?
oh, he gets a
Honest.
for that.
Honest.
I
Right.
appreciate your honesty.
And it's not that it's a bad IPA; it's a good IPA. I was
So-
just in the mood for an oatmeal stout tonight.
Are you okay ever since you slept on the airport floor?
It took a while, but
Has
yes,
that been
I
a
got
turning
back.
point? But you're back. Okay.
I got back.
I'll tell you what, if you can find an oatmeal stout that pairs with Michael Myers and Halloween.
Evil oatmeal stout. There isn't one.
There's no evil oatmeal stout.
Barrow making the evil oatmeal stout.
Oatmeal by definition is nice
Hey,
and warm and
let's
cuddly.
not-
It's gonna have like Wilford Brimley on the can. You can't have
we
that.
just got a comment from Barrow. They said, "Fuck you, Tuttle." no, they didn't. But I wouldn't blame you.
That was me, actually. I commented that.
Allowed to be honest.
All right, Doctor, how do you like the beer?
I'm liking it well enough so far.
Yeah. I usually like my IPAs a little hoppier,
Very true.
but with the cigar tonight, I didn't want to kill our taste buds and,
Right.
and burn it out. And I thought, because Tut's had a problem with everything lately, it was this is my go-to IPA for people that don't really like IPAs. Like if they come over the house, I know I can give them this because it's not going to scare them, and it's just got a really good flavor to it. There's definitely a hoppiness there.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a really nice hoppiness. It's got a little maltiness to it, but it's not overly malty. I just think it has a really good flavor profile.
Perfectly said. Little maltiness. I'm not one who likes it too hoppy or too bitter.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say there's anything fantastically remarkable about it, but it does have a nice, smooth taste to it.
And like I said, when you go to there's different price ranges when you go to the brewery. I mean, this is kind of their standard. You can get this at grocery stores around here. I mean, we're talking $7.99 a sixer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
actually pretty good.
that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of my go-to IPA when I'm only, if I'm going to just hang around the house watching football day and drink like 30, 40 IPAs,
Yeah.
Mystery of the Deep isn't going to be what I
you
turn
going
to
for?
for that. This guy right here.
That's what I was thinking of. Mystery of the Deep.
Oh,
I like that. I like
yeah,
that
we did
beer.
that on earlier that movie with the 2 girls stuck down with the sharks.
We wasted it.
48 meters.
Shark Attack.
47 meters down, the Mandy Moore flick.
47 meters down. That's what we did. We really. I drank. That was the episode. I drank so many Mysteries of the Deep. At the end, Tut looked at my cans. It was like, "How are you?
should be dead.
How are you still alive?" Hey, Ma.
That's my baby cake. That's my baby cake.
All right. You guys just lit up a cigar. You got it going quite a bit. You need to catch up. What do you think,
Good
Tut?
draw on it. It's softer on the strength than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little bit more of a medium to full.
Because all the Nicaraguan.
Yeah, but it's really kind of mellow on the front. Nice little blast of dark chocolate on the light, which I don't really get that often, and so I really appreciate that.
It's got
that
a
dark
very-
chocolate's kind of set down though, and so now we're going into a little bit more of a traditional earth from the Nicaraguan side.
It's got a very silky wrapper.
Feel to it?
Yeah, rub
Yes.
your thumb up and down that. I mean, it's a really pretty Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. And yeah, I was expecting to be a little more, especially Tatuaje tends to really blast you with spice.
Did it? Because I'm pretty unfamiliar with Tatuaje. It's not something that I'm very experienced with.
And I didn't get a lot of spice on.
A little bit of it. There's kind of a faint nuttiness. It maybe something. I'm not really a coffee drinker, but maybe you guys who drink coffee would pick up on. There's kind of a
I am.
Yeah,
I am actually getting a kind of a French roast coffee.
Yeah, especially on the retro
flavor. I'm getting on the draw.
Getting better. I'm getting better.
And keep your eyes out for a slight nuttiness. Hey, a couple more beers, we'll all be nutty. Yeah? I am 0 for 6
No,
tonight.
actually, that was pretty good. I was just being an asshole. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Give yourself half a point.
Half a point? All right, here we go. All right. So, beer is... I didn't even ask you about the beer. You liking it?
I am.
You guys have this at the pub?
As a matter of fact, we do.
How about that?
Excuse me 1 second. Rev Java says, if the doctor were to describe this beer as an 80s hair band song, what would it be?
So I need to actually not just a band, but name the specific song. All right, you know what, Rev? I would go with Poison's Ain't Nothing But a Good Time, because Poison was not my favorite 80s metal hair band, but that's a good song that you can just kind of kick back and sort of relax and enjoy a party with. So I would say this band is Poison's Ain't Nothing But a Good Time.
I was going to go with Rats Round and Round, because I'm planning on serving you boys up round after round after round. Did I get a point for that one?
No.
Damn it.
I thought I
was going to go with
I thought I gave a
Cinderella, don't know
nuanced
what you got
answer to an
until
honest
it's gone.
question.
I gripe about the beer, but when it's gone, I'll be like, I miss that beer.
Well, I got enough beer to keep us all happy tonight. How's that?
Okay.
Well, after listening to y'all's explanations, I'm going with Iron Maiden, Run for the Hills.
Go nowhere.
Sorry, Rev, I tried to give an honest, nuanced answer to your question.
It was a great answer. It was a great answer, Doctor. I mentioned, so you do have, real quick, Evil Catfish IPA on the tap wall in historic downtown Temple, Texas, O'Brien's Irish Pub.
Yes.
So you can either go to the brewery, or you can go a little bit further down the highway and stop in O'Brien's, and someone comes up to you, give them an autograph?
I would.
Yeah. Have you ever been asked for an autograph for the podcast?
No. No.
You do not ask Yax for an autograph. He signs his with his. You get a brass knuckle sandwich when he asks for an autograph.
Yeah, he seems nice here, but he's a monster.
He totally is.
Yeah.
All right, and you just go ahead and put down another 0 for 7.
Take down another point.
All right.
It's still better than the Astros team batting average in the ALCS. God damn it. Sorry.
You know what? I'm really just, before we dive in the movie, as far as cigar goes, just a little bit of black pepper on the nose, and then earth and some coffee on the draw. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a very pretty wrapper, though. Shiny. Halloween 2018.
2018.
Are y'all proud of me? I went to a movie theater and I watched a horror movie.
I saw that. You posted a picture of it on Facebook and everything.
I ate popcorn
Uh-huh.
and I drank beer.
Did you have popcorn at the movies?
I think he snuck into that one, just took the picture, then left.
The doctor does not go to a movie without eating movie theater popcorn.
Buttered throughout?
Soak it in butter.
Did
Ain't
you?
nobody gonna tell me that ain't good for me.
Especially not your doctor.
I'm prescribe it to myself.
Do you have a doctor?
Myself. Why would I go see a doctor?
Is that allowed?
Well, it's not illegal.
We don't think.
Well, I know
I can administer medical treatment to myself.
What kind of doctor are you again?
General practitioner.
You're pretty quick on that answer. It must be
Checks out.
true.
That checks out.
Checks out.
Did you have popcorn at the theater?
Of course.
All right.
I like to.
I did as well. 4 popcorns.
I had the tubbo corn, man.
Like
Like
Tubbo corn?
Yes.
My God, there must be movie theater butter coursing through every vein in his body.
one of these days, I'm gonna just take that trash bag in and say, just fill this up. Just do it.
Have you ever seen people that get they go crazy with the butter, but then they ask for like a little soda cup to put more butter in so they can take that with them.
Oh, side butter.
Yeah, side butter.
No, that's side butter.
Yeah, me neither.
Look at that maniac over there filling that thing with butter. Yeah, it's my doctor. The same guy who just told you everything was fine, huh? Yeah, he didn't have to really check out much. He just said it looked okay.
I'm efficient. Check this out. Yeah, you're fine.
Hey guys, I'm great. I've never felt better. Oh.
Have a cigarette.
Don't mind if I do.
All right. So we all went to the movie theaters and saw a movie. It's important to understand that we can't quite do our usual format tonight where we walk you through the film scene by scene, delving into every minute detail. Tonight won't nearly be that exact of a science.
Oh.
Because this movie was just
like my doctoring.
Well, it was just released, what, last week?
Yeah.
I couldn't very well break down the story as I usually do. I usually watch each movie at least 2 times and you know, kind of take notes.
I just remembered I left my notes in the car. I actually took notes. I walked out of the theater, got in my car, and spent like 15 minutes writing everything down.
Yeah.
And I totally left that.
If we weren't doing our show live, you could go out and get them.
Yeah.
Once again, something we can't verify.
Yeah. So far tonight, the doctor's the only one making any sense around here.
That is troublesome.
So where I'm going with this is if we get the details of a few scenes wrong or maybe combine the happenings of 2 scenes in one or skip something, just, you know, if we stand up and stretch and reveal we're not wearing pants, just bear with us.
I think that's not exclusive.
All of tonight's film discussion was put together after a single viewing of the new Halloween. What was that, boys? Okay. It's also important to understand before we begin tonight that Halloween 2018 disregards any of the films that came after the original 1978 masterpiece. So you have to walk into this film power washing your brain of any memories of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode being siblings.
Good.
Of Laurie having a daughter named Jamie.
Good.
Of Laurie triumphantly chopping off Michael's head with an axe at the end of H2O.
Good.
Of that time Yak Boy stood up and it was revealed he wasn't wearing pants.
Oh my God! Thank you.
You have to leave all that franchise history at the door.
I don't recall that being in the Halloween universe. And
it was there. It was there.
Other than Kay,
I
there
was
are
going
no
to stand
bigger
up
fans.
and reveal that I'm not wearing pants. The only thing people are going to see on this thing is they're going to be impressed.
Have a happy Halloween.
Which even for me, a guy who's seen every entry at least a dozen times, with the exception of Resurrection and the Rob Zombie things that happened for some reason,
Those aren't Halloween films.
I was able to reprogram my brain and walk into this open-minded. I was totally able to leave all that stuff behind.
Well, we've done it before. I mean, H2O makes you go back and forget everything that happened after part 2. Which there's a whole other discussion on that. I just recently watched it for the reviews. So we've done that before. So as far as just putting aside, I'm if there's you're Halloween fan number 1, I'd say I'm 1A.
Yeah, we're close.
I definitely give you the nod over me, but I was able to, that doesn't bother me. I'm, it's the 11th total Halloween film out of all of them, so I'm able to hit the reset button and understand what the idea is behind it.
Yeah, and I actually respected this, and walking in, I respected that take on it.
I'm kind of curious because I'm not that big of a Halloween aficionado. I've seen Halloween the original a couple of times. I've seen number 2 a couple of times. I've seen 3 a couple of times, and then I've seen like 4 maybe twice, and 5 like once, and then I saw like part of it on TNT.
That was one time too many.
So it's kind of like I'm not that big of a deal. I saw like clips of the zombie stuff, and then I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of no.
It's I won't mention that again.
I can guarantee that since it made 78 million opening weekend, I can guarantee you that there were hordes of people from a new generation that went and saw it and didn't know anything about it.
Like when I was in the theater, there was like a whole bunch of young people there.
I actually sat next to probably a 8-year-old.
Really?
And his younger siblings were on the other side. It was a family of 5, and none of those kids were over 8 years old.
That sounds horrible, actually.
Well, luckily, I don't go out a lot. I don't go to the movies maybe once a year. Tops.
I don't mingle with society.
I don't really. I go to Barrow Brewing and other drinking places, but I don't really go out to the theater a lot. I saw it at a Cinemark in their XD theater, and
same here. I got the XD experience
with the reclining chairs and the elbow room.
Yeah.
In the old days, if I had an 8-year-old sit next to me, he'd be like closer than Yak Boy is to me, and that would be like. But I mean, I could stretch out and not even touch anybody. Like,
Yeah.
The theaters now, you just got some room.
I love it.
So I honestly, it, as much as I probably had some personal feelings about bringing your little kids to see this movie, I'm not the movie police.
Oddly enough,
And they didn't bother me. Probably because they were just horrified by what was on the
probably
screen. They're probably
traumatized,
traumatized and
like
shit.
Myers, they may never speak again.
Yeah, they were probably shit in their drawers and just too frightened to speak. But that worked out for me. Okay.
All right, well, let's get into this thing.
There's also in the Cinemark XD, there's plenty of room for you to, Grey Goose the Sprite without drawing any attention to
Oh,
yourself.
doctor, we know how you do it.
Yeah.
Do you carry it in a little medical bag with like a little red cross on
No,
it?
don't be preposterous. Yes.
No, I just got a little bit of I think Tut's old go-to, the Graham.
Graham?
Well, I sense we're really about to hit the old Halloween experience here, so Kate, if I could ask you, sir, would you catfish me?
I'll catfish you.
You might as well hit me another one while you're there. That way
And
we
we're out of
don't
evil-
slow this
and we're
down.
out of evil catfish. Excuse me.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah, I got a little bit of Graham. Goes with on top of that earth and the coffee. Yex, you liking the cigar?
I am.
For some reason, I think you're really going to like this one. Maybe more than any of us.
I got like a little bit, almost like it was like a, can't say what particular one, but almost like it was like a dried fruit kind of flavor on the cold draw. And then lighting up,
Mysterious dried fruit. You can't quite pin it down. Apricot.
something like that. It was
Dates.
sweet dates, prunes.
Raisins.
I got to go outside. Excuse me.
I think the professional podcast cigar term is that weird shit in trail mix that you don't know what it is, and you usually just pick around it and don't eat it.
What
Tastes
is
like that?
What is this thing? I don't know. I'm going to eat it anyways.
The weird shit in trail mix.
That's professional talk. I don't know if you guys heard there's a website on the internet that says I'm a cigar expert.
Every podcast.
Written by, do you liking it, Tut?
Yes.
Okay. Written by Jeff Fradley, Danny McBride, and the film's director, David Gordon Green.
I was really surprised that Danny McBride was in this. Not in it, but wrote it.
Well, it didn't scare me because, I go into Halloween film when I don't want to laugh. I want to be scared, and I've never found Danny McBride funny, so that didn't... There's no red flags there.
But shots fired by Matthew K.
These three have worked together before on such films as Your Highness, which I think you guys really liked. There were the guys dressed up like the knights out in the... Weren't you a big fan of Your Highness with Peter Dinklage? I could have swore you guys were...
Knights of Badassdom.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Your Highness was with James Franco.
Yeah.
Yes. Natalie Portman was in that one. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Knights of Badassdom is
That was about the only
totally
good thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry. And they also did the HBO series Vice Principals together. And McBride has acted in several of Green's films, All the Real Girls, one of his early indie films, and Pineapple Express. They actually met in college at North Carolina School of the Arts way back when, and they struck up a friendship and a creative relationship as young guys in college. I admittedly have not seen a lot of David Gordon Green's films. I watched a movie called Undertow he did with Josh Lucas several years ago, and I did enjoy, and I think you did too. He directed and produced the Amazon coming-of-age comedy Red Oaks.
More good than bad. It kind of went.
I dropped out after the first season, but it had some good stuff in
Yeah.
there. Well, the big get this time around, like the doctor said, the 11th film in the franchise, was the production company Blumhouse bringing on board the living legend of John Carpenter to give the screenplay his blessing and also deliver the score with his son Cody and his godson Daniel Davies, whose father is also famous. His dad is Dave Davies of the Kinks.
Okay.
lead guitarist for the
Oh wow, I
Kinks.
didn't know that.
Huh?
Yeah.
And I just want to start things off by saying the soundtrack is unquestionably phenomenal, which means you literally can't fucking question it. None of you.
I'm not going to.
Because we're on Facebook Live, we can't actually play any John Carpenter, so I've asked the doctor to. Thank you, Doc. It's sad, it's terrifying, it's ghostly, it pulsates as if it's alive and pissed off, while never letting itself go berserk and spin out of control. It feels modern without any sense whatsoever of being kind of a retro throwback.
My rendition just stopped at sad and terrifying.
Actually, I thought it was a little bit interesting because you've had so much of a recent new retro wave or synth wave push, like, you know, in the last 3-4 years. You know, especially like with Stranger Things kicking off, and that's kind of blossomed it out there.
And they all cite Carpenter as an influence for that.
Carpenter is the influence,
But this movie didn't call for that sound.
Cool, but it's got that roots. I mean, you're hearing the roots here, so it was kind of an interesting thing to where a lot of the movies that I like have really started going into that retro wave sound, and I love it. And then this was just a little bit different. I mean, it was those roots. It was the authenticity of the score, because I knew who was doing it. So it was just a really kind of cool experience.
It was. The music Carpenter and his team created propels the narrative while never calling attention away from the action on screen. It's true to Carpenter's mantra of all his soundtracks being like carpet. They're utilitarian, and if the house built around and above the carpet is built correctly, you should barely even notice the music. Which, you know what? Watching it, I didn't.
That is so perfect to where it does not detract from any of the on-screen.
It just suits the story beautifully. Standout original tracks like Prison Montage and The Grind have been obviously listening to the soundtrack nonstop ever since I left the theater. They're so damn good, and they blend seamlessly with reworkings of the original music from the 1978 film. While listening over and over to the new score, I also hear hints of inspiration from classic earlier JC stuff. I hear some Escape from New York in there. I hear a lot of Christine in there. It's just truly glorious. I'd ask you guys what you thought, but I've already established it's unquestionably phenomenal, so that leaves you really little room to question it.
Okay.
But I'll ask.
Never noticed the music.
To me, that's a compliment.
To the music?
Yes. And to the film as a whole. I mean, I would notice it if I was listening for it.
For me, it is a
I was
standalone
listening
comment
for it.
to be interpreted just that way, that I just didn't really notice the music.
To me, it did exactly what it was supposed to do in every scene.
Well, you know, I did. That was one of the things. I mean, it's very hard to go into this movie and not like lose track of trying to notice everything all at once. But I mean, I was paying attention to the music because I mean, Carpenter's original score for the original Halloween is phenomenal. And you know, this is one of those things where you know I can just listen to that score and be fine with it. And I was like, you know, immediately drawn as soon as they start, you know, start rolling the credits from the beginning to, you know, what are they playing? What's it going to say? Is it going to sound similar? Is it going to be different? What are they going to keep?
Yeah, and there's a lot of reworkings of the Laurie's theme and things that he reworks. But to the doctor's point, more so than anything Carpenter's done for any previous Halloween films, because he scored the first 3 Halloween films, and then Alan Howarth took over and kind of retrofitted his score for 4 and 5 and 6. But to the doctor's point, there's a lot more ambient kind of just low-end carpet laying in this movie than anything he's ever done for Halloween before. So you're not supposed to notice. If you're into the scene, or if you're not in the scene but you're just paying attention to the visuals, you're not really it's not going to stand out to you like a piano-based or you know, notes on a keyboard is going to stand out to you. That makes sense, Doc. That makes sense.
Every now and again, I have a moment.
Well, we start things off.
Sell yourself short.
You're all gold in my eyes. But I've had a couple beers, so
No.
take that for what it's worth.
That is true.
We start things off with a podcasting duo. Hey, got some podcasters in this movie, huh? From the UK, some UK podcasters visiting Smiths Grove Sanitarium. Michael Myers, he's spent the last 40 years at Smiths Grove. His personal doctor, Dr. Sartain, who took over the thankless task of caring for Michael once Dr. Loomis passed away many years ago, has granted them access to interview Michael the day before he's due to be transferred out of Smiths Grove to a new facility. They go out into this kind of huge courtyard that's more like a football field. I mean, this thing is enormous with but it's built. It's made like checkerboard. It's little squares.
Yeah, there's squares and grids.
And each inmate's kind of chained to a cement block in the middle of their square. I guess how they get their sunshine and their exercise or whatever. And they brought along his old mask. They think maybe if they recognize this Michael, they think maybe they show him the mask because he hadn't spoken a word in 40 years. Maybe they can get some kind of reaction out of him. They just wanted to speak. They wanted to, to prove that it's just a man there. He's not the boogeyman. There's nothing special about him.
Seemed like, to me anyway, it seemed like one of the only wide shots in the whole movie.
Yes, there's actually one other one later on, which I made a note of. It was so rare. Unlike Carpenter's original, David Gordon Green shoots this film very close.
Yes.
If you're talking to somebody, we're going to see
extreme close-ups.
Extreme close-ups. It's a very different look for Halloween.
I thought it was one of the only wides I could think of.
It was a very wide open shot, and it was about the last one we'll see till almost the end of the film. Good point, Doc. I thought it was funny though that one of their big thing is they got to get Michael Myers to talk, and a little bit we're going to see them trying to get Laurie to talk. They didn't have any microphones. They came all the way from the UK, and they just have like a little tiny recorder like you've got there.
Zoom. Yeah. I've got this Zoom, and it's going to pick up everything clearly.
I mean, shit, man. We go to a cigar shop thing, and we have boom mics, and like they don't bring any microphones and not a camera.
Why?
Maybe they're just far more efficient than we are.
Why?
Maybe they're strictly audio.
When the shit goes down and the dogs start, the security dogs start barking.
It's actually pretty cool.
And the inmates start going crazy as Michael just stands there stokely as they hold the mask on. Everyone's losing their shit. Wouldn't the female podcaster at least like take out her camera phone and like, I want to capture this insanity?
Apparently not.
Let's give them credit for actually going out and in the field to try to get some material.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we did that. We went to the movies.
We did good movies. Popcorn.
I'm sorry, but I found it amusing. Why did the male podcaster, and his name already escapes me.
I just call them male and female podcaster.
Why did he get so enraged when Michael wouldn't talk? He's holding the mask. Say something! Say something! I'm like, why are you so angry, dude?
I think he was trying to just do his best to rile up Michael, like his anger. Like,
first of all, he's caught up in the moment because all these other Looney Tunes are just barking,
he's just
mad
screaming.
around.
He's just like vein pulsing in his head. He's so angry.
I thought this scene actually kind of, without the except for.
Do you think when they're parked outside, he looked at the female and like, just so you know, I'm gonna go pretty crazy.
Why does he get so mad?
with the exception of that specifically, because that was almost like Sergio Leone. Cutting in there,
I just get this feeling like he's.
I did like it. I thought it was, texturally it works because it was like a whole bunch of barking mad lunatics going nuts.
I mean, I guess he did just fly 20 hours to talk to this guy. He won't talk to him.
It was senseless to me that he just started screaming and became so angry.
Or to the fact that the doctor clearly just told him he hasn't said a word in 40 years.
Well, and they show the doctor
What's this?
As he gets out the mask and as he keeps doing all this stuff, I keep waiting for the doctor to step in like, hey, man. No, the doctor just stands there and watches. No, we'll get to that later. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I just pictured like us going on a remote thing. I like hold up the mask. Mike, you got anything?
No, actually.
All right, guys, let's regroup at O'Brien's.
Actually, during this scene, I understand the doctor because he's been working closely with Michael and he's not said a word. So
maybe if he sees this mask, maybe he will say something.
But I will say this:
eventually, like the guards would come in and be like,
"No, nobody."
I just kept thinking, why is Chris Martin of Coldplay getting so mad?
Hey, speaking of Coldplay. I've got another character I've been working on for the show. I actually created him while we were in Kentucky. The hotel we were staying at, they had a karaoke night in the lounge there. And as we were sitting there drinking some Kentucky's finest,
Jameson.
We were drinking Kentucky's finest Jameson.
Right. Like a shot of Jameson. Here's 5.
this lady, to say she poured generously would be a
severe understatement.
Yax went to the bar and got us 3 shots of Jameson. He came back with 3 pints of Jameson.
Oh Lord.
It was awesome. Anyway, we're listening to his karaoke, and I came up with this character. His name's Jeff, and he's karaoke guy, but he also karaoke's the music too. So Yax, I'm Jeff. I get up on the mic for karaoke night and be like, everyone, this is Jeff. He's going to do Coldplay's Clocks. Let me know when you're ready to start the music, Jeff. Can you say that?
That's really
Doctor, you have some fun. You say it.
This is some fun.
Say everyone.
Everyone, here's
Jeff
with Coldplay's Clocks.
And Jeff, let me know when you're ready to start the music.
Jeff, let me know when you're ready to start the music.
Oh no, Don. I do my own music. As I'm creating this character, I realize Coldplay's Clocks is basically a rip-off of Halloween, the theme song. Because when I do the Halloween song in that voice, it's the exact same thing. I'm 0 for 8, aren't I?
Yeah.
Hey, put your notes away. Put those pencils away.
Oh, I'm going to the drawing board, Tut. You know what that means.
Tut, are the people on Facebook Live...
We just lost another 3 viewers. We only had 3.
Damn it. Well, you mentioned Chris Martin for Coldplay. I thought I had something there.
Anyway, about the podcasters.
Can we get back to the...
Okay, just saying, I think there's something there.
There's nothing there.
Could be.
Jeff, the karaoke guy who karaoke's his own music too. We'll never hear from him again, I promise. Happy?
No.
I don't believe you.
So they get no rise whatsoever out of Michael. They get a rise out of the other 50 Looney Tunes out there. And the doctor just comes to hey man, he's got nowhere in 40 years. He's just letting him do whatever the hell he wants. We then cut to an opening credit sequence that pays a very direct tribute to the original film's opening, only where the original credits slowly zoom in on a carved jack-o'-lantern. This time we're shown a CGI pumpkin devolve, like a time-lapse, from a rotting pumpkin as it builds itself back up to a semblance of the original pumpkin. I like the concept.
I liked it too.
And I appreciate the throwback to the original, but it would have been a lot cooler if they just time-lapsed a real pumpkin rotting.
Yeah.
It just looked fake. It looked like a computer-generated pumpkin.
They did.
Every Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, they all have such great opening titles, and it's all using real, it just looked... You got a budget, man.
That's all right.
How hard would it have been, when you decide to do this film, all right, pay some dude to just set up a camera on a pumpkin and have him film it till it rots.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it.
It just looked cheesy. I just thought it'd be cooler if it was a real pumpkin.
Derek says you are batting 0-0.
Yikes.
Tough crowd.
All right, turn off that Facebook thing. This experiment is over.
This experiment's over.
I'm going to show you a new character. It's called Cade, guy who hates Facebook.
Wait, that's not a character.
How about Cade, guy who hates Derek?
Again, catch more flies with honey.
All right, I like Derek Matthews. And I don't like many people. That's high praise. After the credits, we join the 2 British podcasters at Laurie Strode's house / compound. They have
That was easy to find, wasn't it? I mean, for Christ's sake, you've been hiding for 40 years. You turned your house into a 7-level video game, but oops, I forgot to take my address out of the white pages. Might have started there before you strung up the concertina wire. I don't know. I mean, they just drive right up to the place.
Well, they do.
Oops.
And it says Strode on the mailbox.
Let's see, I've been firing at mannequins with shotguns for 40 years. I've built all these booby traps. Damn it, I forgot to enlist my phone.
I actually didn't really think about how they found her that easily.
Man, you guys are harsh.
Well, they do have some resistance getting her to buzz them in.
Well, I mean, it's
a big barbed wire electronic gate that
It's a compound.
that they do. It is. And here in Texas, we take our compound seriously.
Absolutely.
Love a good compound.
We love a good compound.
Don't love it too much, or the government will come in and burn you alive in that compound. Too soon?
No.
No. Until she's on a little intercom. She's like, piss off or whatever. She doesn't say, how'd you find me? But they do mention they have $3,000 if she'll let him in, talk to her, and gate opens. She could have maybe. Do you guys have Michael Myers with you?
I really think they could have negotiated.
Just checking.
She could have. The British girl really could have said, "We have $1,000." I mean,
I thought the same. It's so funny you said that. I was like, I would have started like 1,500 and worked,
like,
give a little work up. To
look, we got $500. I think she would have gone for that one too.
Yeah, we never learned.
I'm just really bad at negotiating. Here, take all the money first.
We never learned how she paid for this compound.
Well, she apparently, did odd jobs.
Apparently, maybe she does a lot of these interviews or non-interviews where like Inside Edition comes out to the compound and she just doesn't,
Here's $3,000. I'm not going to talk to you.
Not gonna say anything. Well, speaking of which, she doesn't really say much to him. When they get up to the house, which is completely surrounded by dense forest and a bazillion security cameras, several deadbolts unlock and they're greeted at the door by Laurie Strode once again for the 5th time. If you count 2002's Resurrection, which I don't, portrayed by the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm not going to spend a lot of time comparing this version of Laurie to the one we were shown in H2O, but whereas that Laurie at least tried to put on a public persona of having her shit together, this one could care less about appearances. Couldn't care less one bit. She spent the last 40 years suffering from the trauma of 1978, and it shows. The podcasters try unsuccessfully to get Laurie to reveal anything new. He's also kind of a dick. He's like, admit there's no boogeyman. Admit Michael Myers is just... He's trying to get... Kind of like he did in The Art of Michael.
Management issues.
Yeah, I think it's just his M.O. Like, I'm not getting anywhere with this. Crank up the anger. Tut style.
No. I've turned over a new leaf.
You did say you were going to be nicer to me.
I'm going to be nice. Well, not to you, but nicer.
But he's just like, admit there's no boogeyman. Michael Myers is just a breathing human being. There's nothing special about him, and boogeyman doesn't exist. Say it. And she's not saying shit.
Laurie Strode, you're in the hot seat.
Turn to Sam Kinison.
Say it.
Well, I wish I could believe that. I guess that's an interesting theory about the boogeyman. I was there.
She doesn't flinch, and she's clearly annoyed they're there despite their prodding. She basically sends them away $3,000 poor with absolutely nothing to show for it. Where do these podcasters get $3,000 from, and they can't get microphones? Nobody's talked to her in 40 years.
At least pull out your little Zoom recorder and set it on the table.
Anything. Can you imagine if we showed up for a paid gig and all he had was that tiny little thing in his hand? The recorder thing.
I've done that before. It hasn't gone well.
If you could just talk right into this. Hi, Laurie. If you could, we just use our phones. If you could just talk in. I'm recording on my phone. What the hell? You flew over from England.
Well, at least you didn't like pull out the 1980s little tape recorder.
Yeah, well.
Actually, kind of like that. At least a little click.
They could have been like true hipsters. He brings out a gramophone, and they could actually just carve it right there.
Oh, the one from Silent Night 2, the old spools of record tape.
Real quick, guys, how are we doing this cigar?
I'm hoping that the strength picks up.
It's consistent.
It is consistent, but I'm still hoping that the strength picks up.
It is kind of weird for a cigar named the Michael after, the slasher of all slashers to be kind of not slashing up the, strength and balls. I mean, it's almost on the mild side of medium.
It is on the mild side of the medium. It's
which for Nicaraguan filler and
that's what
it's perplexing.
Great draw, great construction.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I should be more familiar with Ecuadorian wrappers. Is that what it was? And maybe that's what's muting it down. I don't know. I guess mentally I had this image of what this cigar was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
This cigar's not that profile, and so I'm trying to divorce myself. I don't want to judge it compared to what my assumption was. I want to judge it for what the cigar is.
I will say after the first third, I'm just starting the second third. For me, the spice has picked up on the nose. I got a little bit of burn in the nose. and I'm still getting a very muted earthiness
Yes.
and coffee on the
Yes.
draw, but it's subdued. It's not, you know. I mean, hell, man, it's weird to say a Michael Myers cigar is a breakfast cigar.
No,
I mean, that's kind of
a good description.
it kind of sounds weird, but I mean, I could go outside in the morning with this. I'd be happy.
I was about to say, throw me a cup of Joe and put this cigar in my hand, and it would be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking maybe a stronger IPA would have been in order, or something to kind of kick your ass on the drink side. Live, you learn.
Or an oatmeal stout.
Nobody's drinking oatmeal stouts.
Sounds terrible.
I would have drank.
If you can find me the Sam Loomis oatmeal stout, drink the damn thing.
that would have been awesome.
Well, there's always next Halloween. I'm sure as
There'll
much
be
money
another-
as this fucker made this weekend, we'll have another
There's
one.
gonna be another one, yeah.
All right, and the beer, I really like it. Pairing aside, yeah, maybe a stronger beer could have helped out the cigar a little bit, but I'm enjoying the beer. It's a good IPA. Doc?
Yeah, definitely.
Dex?
I like it.
That's all I need to hear. I'm not going to ask him anymore. We go back to the movie. We then meet Laurie's daughter Karen, her granddaughter Allison, and the Wiz. Karen's husband, who I actually like in this film, is played by guy Toby Huss, who was the Wiz on Seinfeld. Look at me, I'm the Wiz. That's all I could see this whole movie. Every time he came on screen,
I'm gonna be
I
honest,
kept,
like-
I'm the Wiz. I just kept waiting for him to do the Wiz.
And
he also gave Rusty Griswold his fake ID in Vegas Vacation.
Correct. That was
Didn't
kind of what
Papa
I saw.
Giorgio. He was the
first.
guy that takes the picture of him with the sandwich board.
Wow.
Yeah, that's him.
And
Changed
This was-
quite a lot in 20
Yeah.
years.
I mean, he.
Can't believe that you guys
I had no idea who he was.
straight up got that.
Yeah, you're not a Seinfeld guy, but yeah, he was the Vegas Vacation, the street guy who gives the fake IDs.
And I mean, as soon as I saw him, this was probably one of the. He was the only character where I'm like, he doesn't fit.
He's one of the few I liked.
I mean, just because like when I saw him, like
And that's not
I
to
saw
say-
the Wiz. I saw he also did a movie with Kelsey Grammer down Periscope. He was one of the crew members on the submarine, and that's all I could see him as doing that. And I'm just like,
I don't necessarily like his lines and how he was written, but I thought he came off better than a lot of people, which we'll get to shortly. It's a typical getting ready for school and work breakfast table scene where we establish that Karen has a fractured relationship with her mother, Laurie, at best. Allison, her daughter, asks Mom to invite Laurie to her honor society celebration that night, and you can tell Karen's really hesitant to call her mom. Then Dad somehow smears peanut butter on his penis, and they're off to start their day.
That was a total Danny McBride line. I guarantee.
Yeah, and it wasn't funny, and no dad is ever going to
Actually, there was a couple of chuckles in the.
Hey, hon, you're late for school. You better get going. Somehow I got peanut butter on my penis. It was stupid. It wasn't funny. It was unrealistic.
It was Danny McBride.
I guess that proves why I don't laugh at Danny McBride stuff.
I didn't think it was funny.
It wasn't. I think we're getting closer, Doc, to where our ships are gonna meet in the. Where was I? Oh, peanut butter on the penis. Is that a stout? Did anybody do the peanut butter on the penis stout?
I don't think.
I'm not doing that on the show.
no.
God, what cigar do I?
You know you would.
What cigar and movie do I do?
You would.
with that? Yeah, I probably would. It's a typical getting ready for school. Peanut butter on the penis. Oh yeah. Karen here is played by veteran actor Judy Greer. She's been in a lot of. You've probably seen her. You do all those rom-coms. She's in all those 13 Going on 30 and
The
Devil Wears Prada.
The Mother?
The Mother, yeah.
Yes.
I knew you.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of
And
stuff.
I like it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I like it because this is one of the few times that I've actually seen her like mothered up.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, times she's kind of like dolled up, and this is the first time she kind of like looked like a human being. It's kind of cool.
She was in that notoriously troubled horror movie that came out in the early 2000s, Cursed.
Oh, the werewolf movie, yeah.
Werewolf one. She was in that. She's been in a lot of stuff.
I'm familiar with her, but
Well, for the
attractive woman.
off screen, just for her voice acting, she's also very well known for being one of the voice in the Archer TV show.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, Cheryl Tunt.
Yeah.
She does the voice.
Yeah. Archer
You guys not
animated.
familiar with Archer? It's a great cartoon.
Oh, Archer. I was thinking the Arrow show.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, he is an archer.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, she's good on that.
Okay. Well, she plays the Laurie's daughter, and then Allison, her granddaughter, is played by newcomer Andy Matichak. And I think they both really stink to high heaven in this movie.
Really?
It's like Judy Greer had never been asked to breathe life into a character on screen before. She seemed awkward, stiff, and it didn't come off at all to me like a character choice. She just really, it just looked like she didn't know what she was doing.
Looks like a normal mom.
Ultimately, these two actresses were my major problem with the film. As family and the complicated ties involved with a very complicated family are the central crucial element to the story. Didn't do it for me, boys. Halloween 4 and 5 have special places in my heart because I cared so deeply about little Jamie and her foster sister Rachel. Those two actresses' performances made me believe in the worlds that those films created, despite how batshit crazy things got. And I didn't get anything close to it from these two actresses.
I agree, obviously, with everything that you said as far as the older characters in the previous films. I thought we'd get to the podcasters first, but I'll just go ahead and say it because I felt the same way about the podcasters. Quite honestly, with a possible exception of Jamie Lee Curtis, I was completely indifferent to every character in this movie. And that's a cardinal sin.
The whole idea of bringing in an indie director with like some real cred on his resume is because, hey, he knows how to work with actors. He knows how to get performances. And it's like, what happened?
I was completely indifferent. I didn't... The podcasters would be at a microcosm where they didn't bother me.
They didn't... No, I
laughed at the when he gets enraged. They didn't bother me. I didn't care when they left the film. And like I said, with the possible exception of Jamie Lee, everybody, jumping ahead, but Will Patton, who's a guy that I generally like, everybody, I was totally indifferent to their plight completely.
That's kind of where I would be. I can support the indifference versus these actresses that have no business being on this film or acting. Indifference is there, yes. I can see that.
Oh no,
because
Judy Greer has shown she can act.
Yes, they were just. To me, they were filler. It was like this whole thing was filler because they knew the meat of this thing was Laurie versus Michael.
Oh no! To Cade's point, they're not supposed to be filler. You're supposed to care about that granddaughter. That's key. Maybe.
But I think that's a direction choice.
The number one rule in horror films.
I understand that.
You gotta care in order to scare.
My indifference is meant to be a damning comment. That's the way I mean it.
If you wanted to make the husband and the daughter like, well, they're gonna die, or we just don't. Whatever. The real thing here is the granddaughter and Laurie. Well, you weren't even doing a good job of making me like the granddaughter. I mean, they didn't really give her anything. Like what?
She's not filler. You're supposed to empathize with the granddaughter. I read that was a hotly sought after role.
A lot of real experienced young actresses wanted that role.
Emma Roberts, Lucy Hale. I got nothing, and
Emma Roberts would have been great.
Here's the thing, though. Because Judy Greer's an established actress, Will Patton's an established actor, I'm just wondering, because it was universal for me, that indifference. I didn't hate you. Sometimes...
You gotta blame the director.
Sometimes in a horror movie, if it's not the empathy, it's, all the Friday the 13th, so there's you're like, God, I hate this dude. I can't wait to see this dude fucking get his comeuppance. Didn't feel that way about anybody. Totally indifferent.
But at least in those movies, when those characters, those goofball, throwaway characters...
That's a good job.
At least they're not pulling me out of it like, is this person like... Judy Greer was like... It's like she wasn't understanding her lines, and she wasn't understanding like what she was supposed to be doing. She's a good actress, clearly.
Yeah.
She has a big career. She wasn't directed well in this movie.
I blame
a young actress who had done nothing, the girl playing Allison, she needs direction if she's that fresh, to the scene. And I got nothing from her. I got nothing. And that the whole thing is based around Laurie's family, a big part of it anyway.
Yeah.
those roles got a hit, and they
Felt
did,
like they were just going down a checklist.
they
Like,
did they did.
husband, wife, granddaughter,
Yeah.
house.
Okay.
Man, you got
I
a nice budget, and you can really get the cream of the crop as far as acting. Get the best you can, and don't just direct by standing by and letting them feel out their character. And hey, get in there and say this isn't working.
I think there are other.
I can understand.
I think there's we haven't quite gotten to the big picture yet, at least as far as I'm concerned. There's other reasons for my total feeling of indifference to almost every character.
We'll get there as we get to them. Well, that night, the prisoners from Smith's Grove are loaded onto a bus for their transfer to a new facility, with Dr. Sartain along for the ride. Doctor, as a doctor, do you ever go on bus rides with your patients?
Fuck no.
I believe him.
Although I actually got in trouble because I had watched an episode of Sunny in Philadelphia, and Danny DeVito referred to a mental institution as a nitwit school, and so I use that term, and so I'm kind of persona non grata at most of the mental institutions throughout the state.
At the nitwit
because I call
schools?
it a nitwit school.
Well, we see Lori parked nearby as
I was drunk.
as the asylum inmates are being led into the bus. She's parked over on the side of the road, a pistol gripped tightly in her hand. When she sees the Shape, this is the first film where she actually refers to Michael as the Shape. And that's been his name in the credits from movie one, but it's the first time she's ever called him that. Anybody, I believe, has ever called him that. She completely, upon seeing him, unbelievably loses her shit. She screams out loud in the car to everyone, to no one. It's 1,000 pounds of heartache and 40 years of suffering hitting her all at once with just the sight of him. I thought it was a truly breathtaking, intimate, absolutely believable character moment. And I thought Jamie Lee Curtis nailed it.
I thought her performance in the movie was good. I always liked her.
I just thought if you have been for 40 years reliving that night, when you actually saw the Shape, when you actually saw the man who has basically ruined every day of your life, adult life, I believe when she just went crazy, just screaming and I completely bought it.
Yeah, if we're going to go along with the storyline that those events of 40 years ago totally traumatized her
trauma
to this point,
her trauma is that real.
then yeah, her performance is.
And let's face it, the night of 1978 could very well inflict that kind of trauma on a girl. To see all your friends dead, to be chased and wounded by a masked killer, it's not that far-fetched to think that would fuck you up for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Human beings have been mentally crippled by a lot less, myself
true.
included.
Very true.
Man,
No,
I hesitate to get ahead of myself here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Yes, great job by her. I agree with you. I buy that emotional breakdown there. I mean, that was a tour de force performance by her. You purposefully didn't want to really discuss this with me before now.
Uh-huh.
You did mention that H2O would be an elephant in the room. I would buy, and this is going to open a whole can of worms, but what the hell? I would buy the fact that she is so traumatized as she is if part 2 had been included, and instead of 3 people, 15 had been killed, and she'd had the whole thing in the hospital, and the whole thing that he was her brother was in there. That I would have bought the fact that she is that far living the way she is if that was there.
That's a great point. You leave H2 in the original 1981 Halloween 2. All of a sudden, the body count is quadrupled. What she went through is quadrupled. Her trauma would be quadrupled, obviously. It's a very good point. And actually, there are characters in this movie that say, like, what's the big deal? He stabbed 3 girls.
Yeah.
Like, that happens every day. You can't turn on the news without a guy stabbing more people than that every single day. You know, granted, it wasn't quite as back then. Granted, he did wear a very scary Halloween mask and target babysitters. It was very unique. But, I mean, in the scheme of American crime, There's been a million Michael Myers since Michael Myers. What's the big deal about this guy?
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in everything's relative. This was her experience.
It was her experience.
This is what she went through.
It was.
I think there's a lot of credence to what you said as far as.
While I will accept that as a commentary, at the same time, it's a small town. You know, we know small towns. When shit happens, it's big. It's big news.
But also, I mean, I think it's important too. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but I mean, this film makes the most of her trauma because, I'll get into it later, but, this film is very much her obsession with Michael, not vice versa, whereas every film is Michael obsessed and stalking someone. That's not the case in this film.
Yeah, I kind of want to comment on that, but
wait, I am going to get to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree. She nails it. She absolutely nails it. You know who else nails it, boys?
Who nails it?
Our good friends at Drew Estate.
What?
They make a unique cigar line called Acid. Ever heard of them?
Yes.
All the Acid cigars are carefully handcrafted using some of the world's finest tobacco with more than 140 herbs, botanicals, and other essential oils to get their unique aroma and flavor. I mentioned this last episode. Yak Boy uses at least 75 to 80 essential oils and botanicals.
He loves botanicals.
On his skin before each podcast, and you smell amazing.
Thanks.
And your skin is flawless.
It is.
He is smooth. He's like a little seal.
He's just breaking apart acids and just rubbing it.
Are you rubbing acid cigars on your face?
I'm not here to tell you my secrets.
I'll never tell.
We'd all be that smooth.
I'll never tell.
Calgon, take me away.
Cuba, take me away. Experiencing acid cigars is the only way to truly understand them. I'll vouch for that. Similar to all Drew Estate cigars, their construction is flawless since they are rolled in Sumatra, Maduro, Connecticut, and African wrappers. So head on out to your favorite cigar retailer now and grab a handful of acid cigars and let us know what you think.
All right.
Elsewhere in Haddonfield, the family, I don't know what their new last name is, but Lori's family, daughter, granddaughter, and dad are celebrating Allison's acceptance into the High School Honor Society with a nice dinner at a upscale restaurant.
Well, hey, I never saw Seinfeld, but let's just say the Wiz family. It's Allison Wiz, Karen Wiz,
The Wizzes.
and what's his name?
Ray
Wiz.
The Wiz. The Wizzes are having a nice little dinner to celebrate the... Were you guys in the High School Honor Society?
I don't think I was.
Did they have an honor society at their high school?
An honor society.
I was in the Golden Key. That's better than Honor Society, right? I think Golden Key is better than Honor Society. I believe so.
Since we're not following our normal format, I'm about to sneak away.
Yeah. All right. Tut's had one too many IPAs.
It always reminds me of my little joke from college where I made the dean's probationary list.
The dean's what?
The dean's list. The dean's probationary list. Yax was on it. He knows.
Yax, you were there. Well, Allison has brought her douchebag boyfriend Cameron along for the dinner, and it turns out his dad, Lonnie Elam, used to get in a bunch of trouble back in the old days with Lori's dad, Ray. This is a nice little throwback, as Lonnie Elam was one of the punk little kids from the original film who smashed Tommy Doyle's pumpkin at school. And remember when Loomis caught the kid creeping up to the Myers house?
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
That was this kid's dad.
I always thought it was Lonnie Lamb, but I guess it's because she's Lonnie Elam.
Lonnie Elam, yeah.
Well, I mean, besides a few other points that happened previously till we got to this is where I really, I just say it's like there is... in this movie, so many little Easter eggs and these hints.
I like them.
I do. Just literally, and that was one of the things that watching this movie, trying to stay focused to the story. It was also very hard because as soon as you hear that reference, you start thinking about things.
Yeah.
Or you see something on screen off on the side, like, oh my God, that's directly from the first one.
Yeah.
You can just go back and watch this movie and something in every scene is a throwback to the original.
There's so many little
They're nice
twists.
little touches, but touches do not a movie make. I think they hinged. I think there was too much thought that was gonna.
They do not.
Well, that's one of the criticisms that I have, like with Star Wars. Eventually,
Force Awakens was basically Star Wars karaoke.
you have to move past the nods.
Star
to-
Wars, give me those Star Wars, they'll never end.
Halloween. You have to move past the nods. And actually, I will say, we talked about the no wides. I kind of wish that if there was one nod to the original Carpenter that I would have loved. I would have loved some neighborhood establishing shots. Some just wide angle, this is my environment,
Yeah,
this
no.
is my city.
They don't give you that.
And that wasn't there.
But yeah, I thought that.
So that was like totally off the...
No, but
No, you're right
But I
in
thought
there.
this little this actually
Couldn't
was
agree with you more.
this was actually a night rather than a little throwaway visual. I thought making Allison's boyfriend's dad the little punk kid from the first one, I thought was a nice little touch.
It was. No, I did like it, but it's just like I said. It's one of those things where you hear that name, you
Yeah.
hear that, you're like, oh, there it is. There
Well,
it is.
this will not be our only nod to the previous films. Despite Karen wishing she hadn't, Lori makes an appearance at the dinner. She just came from the bus, watching the bus get loaded, and immediately, TNCC style, grabs a glass of wine off the table and chugs it.
Drunk mom.
Drunk mom. Drunk grandma.
This is exactly. I literally I freaked out because I was like, oh my god. But just like we always talk about for the guest, that such an influence from the original,
Influenced by Halloween, now the guest has influenced Halloween 2018.
I mean,
Drunk mom.
I was, like I.
Do you
I'm throwing
think
up.
that-
I
do
was
you
throwing
think it
popcorn
was?
like, oh my god, that was.
Because I loved it. Cause no, it was the finger point.
She's drinking that wine and she just said, wait.
If she drank more throughout the film, I might go there.
Okay,
But
all right, I give you that.
she's having some drinks, mom.
all right.
She was sitting in the car watching the bus, wasn't she? Didn't she throw back a little?
Oh, she did have a little airplane bottle,
Yeah.
doctor style. Yeah.
Once you say that it's doctor style, really, it's
Looked
nothing
like a little
remarkable
bottle of
to point out.
Tito's over there.
This happens as a matter of course. Lunchtime. And
Well, it's frankly a miracle she's able to show up at this dinner at all after a mental breakdown in the car watching Michael board the bus. But despite her volatile history with her daughter Karen and her family, she does love them. She absolutely does love them.
Yes.
And there was a scene I skipped earlier that day at school where Allison is sitting in the classroom, and it's a direct copy of the scene in the original where Lori's sitting in the classroom. Only when Lori looks out the window across the street, she sees Michael. When Allison looks out the window, she sees Lori, who's come to see her. And then Lori she goes outside, and Lori gives her the $3,000 from the podcasters to use for college or whatever. And Allison doesn't want the money. She only wants a relationship with her grandma, which it's 40 years of pretty bad shit. It's not that easy, but Lori's trying in her own drunken, traumatic way.
And
Drunk
Lori
grandma
is just
way.
sitting there in the classroom. Her teacher.
Well, you don't see her, but the voice of the Allison's teacher in the class is PJ Souls, who was Linda in the original Halloween.
Okay. Oh, the friend.
The blonde, yeah.
Gotcha.
Who died, so it doesn't make much sense that...
Well, that's why you don't see her.
Yeah, but her voice is very... I knew it immediately when I heard it. It's like, she's supposed to be dead.
Yeah, but you guys are like, super Halloween fans.
Yeah, but that was one of those things.
That's who was meant for us to notice that. Oh, it's the voice of a dead woman. That one I could have done without.
I'm just saying.
It took me out of it. Well, we then cut to a young boy in the car driving through the night. What would you put this kid at? 10?
Yeah.
easily.
No older than that.
No.
I would say 10 to 12, no
Yeah,
more.
Yeah, I would say no more than
that was
12.
the age range they were
All
shooting
right.
for.
Can we say 11?
Okay.
I did
We'll
say 10
compromise.
to 12.
Split the difference. We see an 11-year-old boy and his old-ass dad. Why couldn't they just say it was his grandpa taking him hunting?
I mean, seriously, like his.
Your dad's not that old.
No, I was saying if I were to have a kid.
Well, yeah. No, but this guy was like 80s.
Tut style.
I didn't understand that at all. And you've already got Judy Greer married to a much older man than her.
That whole thing, I just had
But
to
hey,
take a
I mean,
leap of faith.
older guys marry younger girls. That's okay. But I was like, why didn't they just make it his grandpa? I don't know. Again, something else that script-wise just threw me out of it. As they drive along a foggy road on the outskirts of Haddonfield, they come across a bus crash. The Smiths Grove Asylum bus has crashed, to be precise, and there's mental patients wandering around all over the place. Again, throwback to the first movie.
I actually like this scene. It was nicely shot.
Probably, maybe my favorite scene in the film as far as the way it was
creepily
orchestrated.
Shot. It was nice.
The music was really prevalent in this. Old Dad gets out to check on things, not TNCC style. We're not getting out of that car. What are these guys in white robes mumbling about Jesus doing it here? You know what? I'm going to get out and get some answers.
I figured the little boy, like, Dad, what's going on? Well, nothing we need to worry about.
Wait, are they going hunting or are they going camping? Because if it was hunting, back home in East Texas, we'd just be like,
But they had guns.
They did have guns, so I'm assuming. Well, he was saying, don't you want to do that? And the little kid's like saying, I want to go dance. I'm like,
Oh, that was more dialogue. The kid just wants to be a dancer. It was just bad dialogue.
I just thought
I'm all for little personal dialogues to like create character moments.
I thought it was a push to show the modern times, and it was like, look how modern.
None of these little moments between characters work for me at all.
Yeah.
Do not care.
Absolutely correct. And on that note, I like to go fishing for another catfish.
Now you're talking.
But yeah, the scene was entirely creepy. I love the fog setting, the crashed school bus. Even though it was like an inmate bus, it was still kind of creepy. You see that school bus there. The white was stark contrast against the black.
Yeah.
It worked.
Well, when Old Dad doesn't return, the boy grabs his hunting rifle from the car and goes looking for Old Dad. But upon finding a guard's mutilated body, I think it was one of the guards, dude, his neck is all fucked up.
It was bones, a good scene, man.
It was really good
It was a good effect, yeah.
There's bones like sticking sideways out of it. It's a really gruesome effect. When he sees that, he immediately runs back to the car, and before he can turn the key and get the hell out...
Actually, he shoots the doctor.
Oh, it's true. Dr. Sartain
hey,
pops up from the back of the bus. I'm okay, and he shoots his ass.
I just like that boy.
Never get on the bus with the nitwits.
That doctor, you got a point there. You don't ride on that bus. He shoots Dr. Sartain, gets scared, runs back to his car, and before he can put the key in and turn it, Michael emerges from the back seat, a la Annie Brackett's death in the original, and he bashes the kid's head repeatedly into the window, killing him and driving off.
Okay, I can't believe they went there.
I can.
Oh, I can.
This death is super important for a couple of reasons later on. So be patient with me.
I understand.
Yeah, we never see Michael, even in the sequels that don't exist, that we've seen, that we're led to believe don't
Never
exist.
kills a little kid.
Never kills the kids. But
Exactly.
man,
he goes at it.
he kills this little 11-year-old.
I was just kind of like, I can't believe that they went there. I really can't believe that they killed the kid. Which I understand, it was a great move in terms of establishing just how serial this guy is.
I always liked the aspect of Myers not doing that. Now he just doesn't fuck around, like in the first movie with Tommy and the pumpkin,
When he runs into him on
or
the schoolyard.
Lonnie, and even in part 4, he's in town to kill his niece. So this is not something that's going to be beyond him. But when he doesn't know who Jamie is, when he gets the mask in the drugstore and he doesn't know who she is yet. You see what, like, him in the mirror, he kind of swipes at her with his hand, like he's not going to kill her, but get out of the way.
Yeah.
But there was that kind of thing. I always liked that because I didn't care about this kid and his because I was indifferent again, just like I was.
You
with
didn't care
everybody.
about him because he wanted to be a dancer.
I was fine with him wanting to dance. I mean,
I just want to dance.
just do whatever you want to do, babe. But that's fine with me. But I just. Man, the scene didn't work for me like it did for you guys. I kept thinking that
I thought the tension was played great.
I kind of wanted to see the bus crash, which was so different because, if you look at the first Halloween, it's a great thing that you don't see the asylum break out and they're all wandering around out there in the rain.
Well, there's
Here,
a
it didn't.
there's a
work for
reason
me.
why I think we don't see the bus crash, and I'll get to that later.
Okay.
I keep saying we'll get to things later. Eventually, we'll get.
I hope
We'll get there later.
8 catfishes later. Fuck it.
Speaking of which, a little later on, Police Officer Hawkins, as you said, played by Will Patton, is the guy's name.
I like this dude.
He's from Armageddon.
I like Will Patton. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's been The Good Thing in some bad movies.
Yeah.
He was in.
Punisher. Wasn't he in the Punisher?
He was in the Punisher. He was in
He was John Travolta's gay sidekick.
Yes, he was very good in that, and that was not a good movie, but he was good in
He
it.
had probably the best line in that entire fucking movie.
Doesn't the gay department store guy come up to him like, "Can I get you some new boxer briefs? Go fuck yourself."
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
He goes up there and he's like, "Are you looking at some socks?" And he just turns and says, "Go fuck yourself." He's got that. He's got a great look about him. He's got a good Southern accent.
But he's older now, and he looks.
He was also played the villain in the notorious Kevin Costner movie The Postman.
Yes.
He's good in that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of us, or at least you and me, kind of think that Remember the Titans is a cheesy movie,
No,
but
I liked him. I liked him as the
I thought he was really good in that as the coach. I just
What was that
remember
movie you let me borrow? Oh, that was Remember the Tight Ones.
Remember the Tight Ones, yeah.
That was a different movie.
And I'm going to need Gridiron Gangbang back the next time.
Was he in that?
He was in Remember the Titans.
Oh, Titans.
Yeah. I like the actor.
I
really
like
do.
him a lot. Again, I would say that's another one like Judy Greer. This is an accomplished actor. And when I saw all the previews and I thought, oh, Will Patton's going to play the cop. He's going to have the sort of bracket kind of role. I was like, that's a nice, I like him. Again, totally indifferent.
I will say he didn't bother me, but I got nothing out of his performance.
That's indifference.
I was about to say that's kind of fitting with y'all's theme.
That's the
It's
definition of indifference.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much indifferent to him. I just felt indifference. Oh, those are the same things.
They are.
Oh, okay.
You were indifferent, not apathetic.
Well, he's the oldest serving policeman on the squad. He gets a call over the radio to check out the highway accident. When he arrives on the scene, he sees all the carnage. Dr. Sartain is alive. The kid just winged him. But when he sees Michael Myers' name on the patient transfer list, he looks through the papers and they managed to scrounge up most of the inmates. But when he sees Michael Myers' name on the list, he was on the force back in '78, so he knows exactly what this means. And then we get to the next day.
Another poor timeline cut. I'm sorry, you would totally be retired if you were a cop 40 years earlier.
Probably.
Well, yeah.
They don't work till they're 65. They retire.
It's a small town. It's a small
Well, if you want to go there, I mean, Judy Greer was born in '75, so she's our age.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I can take a leap of faith with some of that stuff.
of course. The next day is Halloween. Comes up on the screen, as it always does. Halloween. Was that Coldplay? No, that's John Carpenter.
Sounds like Coldplay.
Lori's drinking some coffee in her compound when she hears about the bus accident on the news. She's not surprised at all by what went down. She fires up her pickup truck, turns on the police scanner, and off goes Ahab to get her white whale. She's on it. She's been waiting for this.
Would have been a lot cooler if we started laced that coffee with some rum before she hit the road.
That's why she's not drunk, Mom.
That's true. Yeah, all right, I'll give you that.
At least you didn't, utter,
She pauses the news.
at least you didn't, utter
Irish
any
up that
cheesy
coffee.
lines. I have to get my rifle from the basement.
Speaking of drinking,
Got to go and get my rifle from the basement.
Speaking of drinking, everybody still enjoying the beer?
Yes,
yeah.
very much so.
Boy, I don't know.
You have enough of them, Tut. You come around.
Enough of them, you come around, man. It's screw that oatmeal.
This natural light is delicious.
I'm liking this IPA.
I will say, does the bitterness get a little more noticeable for you as the beers go on?
The bitterness?
Yeah.
I actually think the bitterness
Mine or the
has
beers?
died down.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I thought that the bitterness was there in the first couple.
For me,
and now
the
it's
bitterness
kinda
seems
set
to pick up a little bit in the later beers. That's probably
Take another point
just
off from
something
Cade.
crazy. Maybe it's the cigar. The cigar, for me, has not picked up in strength.
Actually, give it about another inch and it will.
Okay.
Hey, that's something I say to all my
I'm
dates.
a little bit ahead of you guys, and
Just
the
gotta
strength-
find that other inch.
The strength does pick up a little bit. You're getting more of a classic Nicaraguan presence. You're getting a little bit more earth. The earth is way
Actually,
more
yeah, I'm getting a little.
pronounced.
I'm getting a little bit of that Nicaraguan mineral now with
Yeah.
the earth. I'm still getting the coffee. The spice in the nose is like it's still slowly building. So you're liking the second half a lot better than the first.
I am.
Okay, Doctor.
I'd say it's still fairly consistent. I just did a retrohale, and that did pick up a little extra spice on it.
Yeah.
It's very consistent, and I like that.
You are a man of consistency. Okay. All right. Ted, how's the old Facebook Live thing going over there?
It's going.
You got people watching?
It says Matt Cade is watching.
Oh, turn off my phone. Sorry. I like to watch myself.
Nah, it's cool. I shot out to my high school friends or my Facebook Live, and I've got some high school friends and some college friends. Romla's watching. Some old, that's a throwback from the old O'Brien's day. I remember she was like one of the first personalities I met there.
Well, let Facebook Live folks know. We're going to be giving away a T-shirt here pretty soon.
Okay, we're going to be giving away a T-shirt here pretty soon.
I thought maybe you could like type it in somewhere. No.
Well, if they're watching, they'll still see it.
I don't know how any of this works. But all we have are extra large T-shirts. So, ladies, if that seems big, you could always sleep in it. It's got the doctor's face on it.
That's what you want on your body late at night.
That's what you want to cuddle up to. And
please, just one person out there.
Hey, nobody wants it. I'll sleep in it tonight.
You better not be fooling.
I got your back. So yeah, well, you know what? Leave us a good comment. What's your favorite Halloween film, and why? And we'll give you a shirt.
And I'm still fielding questions.
Okay.
Does that seem like a good?
I'll do that.
Will that work? All right.
He's already done it. He did it right now.
What's your
right. I just said that, and that's
Halloween film and why?
Win an extra large Doctor T-shirt.
I don't.
Halloween, maybe, but it sounds like to one lucky person, Christmas came early.
No, they haven't seen the shirts yet.
No.
We then joined the UK podcasters at a rural gas station on their way out of town. Hard to believe they haven't heard about the bus crash yet. Seems like that'd be big news.
Well, apparently, they have connections. They can apparently get the original mask, which has been locked up in evidence forever.
Yeah.
They can get the original tapes, which we didn't mention that. They're listening to the original Dr. Loomis tapes.
Yeah, they can get anything they want except the news.
They apparently can get access to large amounts of cash just to hand out to interviews that go nowhere.
I'm sorry, they can't get the current news, and they also can't get microphones.
As Kate pointed out, they have this cash because they don't buy equipment.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt here. Derek Matthews says, Cade, new character, unfrozen caveman podcaster. I don't know how this technology works. I just am the 11th best podcast reviewer.
Oh, he's seen the internet article.
Oh.
Hi,
Derek.
It was pretty viral.
I keep trying to kill it.
It's like Michael Myers. You'll never kill that internet article.
Oh God! I wish I could find whoever wrote that internet article and just beat the living crap out
Well
of them.
played, Derek Matthews. Well played. It was a prominent industry expert
from Russia.
An expert on experts.
It was Russian fake news.
It was the Russian bots created it.
They're sowing discourse throughout the podcast universe.
Was the doctor? Were you at that Turkish embassy? Moving on.
You carried the bone saw in.
Moving on.
Oh, Tut, I had the bone saw. Somebody had to carry it in there.
Well, I know I shouldn't have carried
Some
the bone
bitch
saw.
was writing articles he shouldn't have written, and we took care of his ass.
Terrible. Terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible.
I'm not allowed in Turkey.
I forgot. How foolish of me. Well, when the female podcaster disappears while taking a leak, the
Foreign exchange program in my ass. Go ahead.
The male podcaster leaves the gas pumps and he goes inside the gas station to question the clerk, and he finds that his jaw has been gruesomely split wide open on the counter. Like, dude, like stretched.
I'm surprised he didn't start screaming at him. What happened to your jaw? What did happen to your jaw? Say something.
I want to pay for this gas. Why aren't you answering me? Say something.
What happened to your jaw?
It's a really gruesome effect.
It is a gruesome effect. I liked it.
After finding a naked mechanic lying in a pool of blood in the garage, Michael had to get a new jumpsuit and work boots. He's going to work.
It's going to work.
He's got to get his costume.
Got to get the uniform on.
But at this point, I'm like, this guy is staring at this dead body in a pool of blood like he's never seen it before, yet you research serial killers, so you would have to have seen pictures, right?
Well,
something about
actually,
dead people.
Actually, I'm going to get to that exact point in 1 second. The podcaster races to the bathroom where Michael has already begun tormenting the female podcaster. He got up to her stall door, drops a handful of bloody teeth from the gas station clerk over the top of the bathroom. Remember in '78, Michael's always been a little bit of a trickster. He likes to toy with his victims a little bit. He drops the teeth down. She goes screaming, trying to crawl underneath the stalls as he's trying to grab her out from under there. I thought she was really good in this scene.
Yes.
Actually, she was.
She played really good. Dude, male podcaster busts in with a crowbar, hits Michael once with it, drops it, and then goes to help the girl. I'm sorry. If you've been researching Michael Myers for
Did
this
he
long,
fall on the
how
ground?
many times was he shot and stabbed and poked and...
No, but my thing is, he hit him, but did Michael Myers fall down?
No!
He just...
He just kind of hunched over like, oh, shit. Dude, you are a Michael Myers expert at this point. You know that one shot...
But, well, no, you're taking into account like all the other
No, I'm
movies,
not.
aren't you?
Lori stuck him with a knitting needle in the neck. She stabbed him in the gut with a knife.
Well, maybe he didn't know all that.
Loomis... It's all in the files. He had everything. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Loomis... It wasn't in the files that Loomis shot him 5 times? And then he fell off the top of a house and got up and walked away?
But to Tut's point, with just part 1 happening, it's a lot less ridiculous.
Everything I just said, though, happened in part 1. He was shot 5 times, stabbed twice, fell off the top of a house, and was...
But you might not have that unless... I guess they had the police files.
His mask. They
Yeah,
had
that's true.
all the Loomis tapes. They had everything. I'm just saying. You just saw what he did
They
out
had
there.
detailed
They
files.
had detailed Russian files.
And with his anger management issues, you thought he just wouldn't stop with that crowbar. You thought it would hit everything in sight. You thought he would have brained his partner.
Say something.
Well,
Yeah.
just like that.
Maybe he killed the gas station attendant.
Well, at that point, then, I do love
he
this.
had
Is that
trouble with the...
Why is it $1.96 per gallon?
That guy was intense. Apparently, he's in Star Wars. He was in Force Awakens. He's one of the
Yeah,
Imperial bad
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, just like that, Michael, obviously, a crowbar to the head doesn't do anything. He grabs the male podcaster and just bashes his head against a bathroom wall 1,000 times. And then he goes, instead of running, she's still kind of just hanging out.
There's
he
actually
grabs
one-
her and just snaps her neck like a chicken.
There's actually one scene where he bashes the head on the bathroom stall, and you see it from her perspective, and it's like you're looking at your comrade, your friend, your colleague, and his head is just bashed against this fucking wall.
Man,
And I'm like, psychologically, I thought the scene worked. I'm like, that's freaking.
I'll be honest,
terrifying.
if we ever stop on the side of the road on one of our road trips and I am in a stall and I look out there and I see Tut's head bouncing off the wall, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
as you should.
Yes. I'll probably stop since the clerk's dead and grab a couple coldies for the road.
Well, naturally.
Get you a Tom Atkins sixer.
Give me a
Get some
Atkins
road beers.
sixer, and I'll be honest, after witnessing that, I might need a cigarette. Might need to pick up a lot of bad habits, but you know what? I'll have my own 40-year trauma.
You know what? A couple cans of snuff. I haven't done this in a while, but times
I can just
times
see
are tough.
I can just see Tut's wife. But you tried to help him, right? Well, yeah. I mean,
Well, I know I should have.
I know I should have, Jenny, but
Oh, Jenny, I mean, I should have, but he was already getting his brains beat loose, so I grabbed a can of Copenhagen and a couple of still reserves and got my ass down the road,
literally,
goddammit.
blood was pouring out of his ears. One of his eyeballs was sticking. There's nothing I could do at that point. I mean,
She's all watching the video camera. Kate, help me, I'm still alive. Tut's dead. No, seriously, I just need a minute of help. Gotta get out of here.
for some reason, I step on his head. Maybe that'll put me in Michael's good graces. Look, Mikey, I'm helping you out.
Mike's all of a sudden. Yeah.
Want some skull?
Well, later, as the crime scene is getting taped off and they're trying to make sense of the gas station massacre, which it may or may not be a throwback to the great Halloween 4 gas station
Gas
scene.
station, yeah.
Every time Michael breaks free, he's got to go to a gas station to get his jumpsuit.
Get his jumpsuit.
That's what it completely. I'm like, they just.
Where else are you going to get one?
They deliberately tried to do stuff like that. They
it
tried
was
to
a
set
little
up
bit
like,
of hate.
But I also
Remember
like
this?
if we're
Remember
going
this?
off of only the original. I'm like, how did he know how to drive a car? He'd been incarcerated for 40 years, never
That's
drove.
true. He was a kid.
Well, he got incarcerated when he was a little boy.
And then he broke out once.
Well, Loomis addressed that in the first one. Maybe somebody gave him... It doesn't make any sense. They've already established it's completely...
And he's not stupid, all right? They know that. He can talk, he can understand, but
Well, he can't
he
talk.
never drove.
Yeah.
He never drove a car. How did he just... Because, he pulls up, he parks.
Oh, and then he goes out to the...
He goes to the appropriate... it's not like he just
I'm fine. I don't need to see Michael Myers
But he did-
pulling up
but-
in his
but-
Buick 75.
But he does
He
take...
parallel parks. He
And I'm sorry.
gets
fucking
out.
with the clutch.
He only steals automatics. He does take the male podcaster's keys after they're dead, and he goes out there and he pops the trunk. And
How does he know how to operate a key fob? He's never seen one.
Maybe he put the key in the trunk.
Maybe.
But he takes a mask. He gets his mask back. They had
He said you like sight
lovingly-
gags. That would be a funny one for me. Is like he's sitting out there. That's when he finally talks. Oh God damn it! He's trying to get in there. Fucking shit.
hitting buttons.
Okay, I
on the
will say,
keyboard.
I will say,
German automobile.
You see his hands like it's the trunk.
I will
What is
say this because I think that they went to this well a little too much throughout
But
this
how did
entire opening scene when him getting the mask on. They played way too much in that. Oh, are you going to see his face? Oh, are you going to see his face? This might be his face.
Well, we actually did see his profile and his because he has a very messed up eye from where Annie poked him with the
Yes.
the
I could have done without all that crap. I mean, to me,
clothes hanger.
I'm thinking of who's the actor that played Leon in The Professional. All of a sudden,
John Reno.
Yeah, all
John
of a sudden
Reno.
I'm thinking that Michael Myers is John Reno, and I could have done without it. I don't need to put a face to this killer. This killer's supposed to be just evil incarnate,
Well,
dead eyes.
That's
blank
one.
Well, correct,
That's
but
one in
you
my
know-
notes. That's a good one.
I think in this scene, after everyone's like, "Oh, you just kind of barely catch this glimpse." No, you now see him put his face on.
Yeah, I could have done without that though.
It didn't bother. I mean, he's got to get his mask. They made a little moment of him putting it on. It didn't bother me. Michael's never been, and even Jason's never been. It's never been a big thing to see under the mask. I mean, we saw Michael's real face in the first one.
But that's why I'm kind of like, they made too much of a big deal of it. They were kind of
It's
like,
been so long
I
since we've
understand
had-
this is the monster putting it.
They made too much of a big deal of a lot of insignificant shit.
It was a trailer moment.
Fair,
it was a
fair.
trailer moment.
It was
I don't know.
definitely
I ended up actually having to stifle a laugh because I'm thinking, he's gonna go. Can they have at least watched it? Jesus.
He puts. Oh God, this is wreck. God.
Oh, it had to stink.
I just
40
killed
years.
that gas station attendant. That was bad, but this.
He finally gets the car started and he's smoking a cigarette.
Well, back in town, Allison, the granddaughter, heads off to the big Halloween dance, while her best friend Vicky is stuck babysitting for the night. But she makes Allison promise over the phone to come over so they and their boyfriends can puff on some grass and party it up. Because, like in all these films, for some reason, the adults all go to these all-night Halloween parties, leaving their kids with babysitters.
Unattended.
This never happened in my
Did your
youth.
parents ever go to a Halloween party
No.
on Halloween night?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Every one of these movies, the adults are gone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say this.
Well, it is it is the
with
small
all
town
the
of Haddonfield.
With all the indifference that you have towards the actors, what about the babysitter?
I'm getting to that. First of all, I love that they brought a babysitting element into the film. Second of all, the actress playing Vicky, Virginia Gardner, should have been cast as Allison. She's immediately likable. She's at ease on camera, and I thought she was great. She's
did
one of the
too.
few bright spots in this. You should have made her the granddaughter. She's
did
got
too.
screen presence.
Perhaps I'd grown too cynical at this point. I didn't give a shit about her either.
You might have. Oh, I did.
I actually did.
I feel I agree
liked
with you.
her.
I liked her. Too.
My
agree.
indifference
She had-
continued.
She felt natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she felt like she had acted before.
Yeah, I liked her. She was the PJ of this film.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just
Very
saying.
much so.
I'm just saying she felt natural. She actually felt like
She was
that
kind of PJ
character-
and Annie. She was kind of Linda and Annie rolled up in one.
Yeah.
And I dug her.
Yeah.
I thought that the babysitting scene, while you appreciate its inclusion, I thought, and this is part of a larger context, but
She is babysitting. We should say a little 10-year-old. Are we going to say that 10-year-old boy?
Yeah.
I thought
Maybe yes.
the whole
Yeah.
thing felt forced to me.
It's a very comedic scene where he's complaining she's the worst babysitter as he clips his toenails. She's like, "Yeah, well, you're my worst kid I babysit."
I liked it. For
Out
some
of
reason, I
all,
liked it.
out of all the bad dialogue and the badly executed dialogue scenes in the film, I actually did not mind any of it.
And I did feel that I think the dialogue was a little bit above the kid's age.
Oh, I thought he was fine.
But I
actually
still
thought
liked it. I mean,
I actually thought
did.
he was better than Judy Greer.
He had personality.
He said his lines, and I believed he was a 10-year-old kid. That's more than
I
that's more than she did.
I just think that
Hey kid, act like a 10-year-old.
There was such
Got it.
there was such a mishmash of
Tone.
everything. We've got the Laurie Strode, Michael Myers drama. We're going to try to introduce the family. We're going to try and have a teenage element as well, with the boyfriend and the Halloween dance and the babysitting. I just think there was such a mishmash of different things.
Too much going on.
It felt forced. I was indifferent to them, and I just thought the kid. And I'm not saying he was a bad performer as a young kid, but I just felt that was forced. Like, now's the time we put in the hip, smart 10-year-old kid. He's going to throw out some one-liners that are maybe above his age. And I saw it in a theater where there were not many people, and they were laughing. And I was just thinking, man, I bet he brought the house down at your
Oh,
Full
my
House.
theater, the house,
theater liked
everything
it.
that little kid said, and she, like that whole scene. Everyone just, I mean, we just got, and I, you know, I do get tone. We just came out of a brutal gas station scene with tons of dead bodies and violence, and then this is pretty soon after that. Where
like you said
it does
earlier-
lighten the mood a little bit. I did like the babysitter. I don't think it's too much going on, because I think if it was just the movie was just Laurie, she's got to be hunting him while he does something. And I think that her granddaughter being out there loose in the town, and her having friends, if nothing else, it gives you victims.
And I will say this, you know, earlier you said if you don't care, you don't scare. Eventually, I mean, I cared about these two people. I liked them.
It worked for you.
I instantly just
And I
gravitated
obviously said I really liked this actress, but I don't know if I liked her just because everything else I was being shown was so bad.
Yeah.
But I'd have to watch it again to see if I actually really liked her, or if she was just a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, she's acting,
Yeah.
and it feels right.
My indifference continues. I didn't have a problem with her. Maybe if we had spent more time with her and gotten to know her more, that would have been something. But her whole character seems forced to me in a way that in the original film, Annie and Linda are not forced. You seem like you spend more time with them, getting to know a little bit more about them. Seems like she's in one scene where they're walking to school, and then she's in this scene. So again, my indifference just continued. I just really didn't care.
Okay. Well, I do think the inclusion, much like the 11-year-old at the bus crash site, I think the inclusion of this young guy also served a bigger purpose here very quickly. So be patient with me. I'm getting to it. Well, Laurie comes by her daughter Karen's ideal suburban house and tries to get the family to go with her to her compound. They're like, oh God, she's drunk again. They're like, what bus crash? Or, you know, what are you even talking about? This would be huge news on Haddonfield. This would be huge news on Facebook, on community pages. Like this
Something
It would be on CNN.
Something that happened 40 years ago, regardless, people would be like, "Oh my God, that guy that killed." You know, even if it had been killed one person, 40 years, regardless of, I mean, small towns.
People still know who Ed Gein is, the cannibal killer that was based on Psycho and Chainsaw Massacre. I think he killed 2 or 3 people,
Right.
and used their body. We still know his name. Yes, the fact that Michael Myers was escaped from an asylum bus would be all over the news.
It would be the only thing on the news. You'd be getting cell phone alerts.
Especially in Haddonfield.
It'd be on CNN. The guy killed 3 teenagers and a mechanic stealing his jumpsuit, tried to kill another
But there's
one.
no way their little community Facebook pages wouldn't be blowing up with this in this little town. Well, she says, if you're not going to come with me, at least take one of my guns. And the dad's like, get that out of here. We're not a gun family. We don't need your... it's just, I know how to protect my family. I'm the whiz. I can handle
That
this.
was a little bit.
They're not buying any of her mumbo jumbo. Karen has been
I'm
listening.
taking your gun, Lord.
Karen has been listening to this paranoid nonsense her entire life. Again, I didn't believe Judy Greer when she was like, this is just too much, Mom. About just bleh. Well, finally, Michael arrives in Haddonfield. He's home. In a long tracking shot straight out of 81's Halloween 2, Michael randomly selects a house where we follow him into the garage where he grabs a hammer. He then goes into a side door and kills a bathrobed lady in her kitchen with the hammer. It's off screen. We just hear the hammer hitting her. Then he steals a knife from her kitchen. If you remember the scene where he gets the knife in the kitchen and kills her, she's dressed exactly like it's a throwback to Halloween 2 with Mrs. Elrod.
It's all just so extremely close up, though, that I just did not like that. It's so close up on it that it's almost nauseating to me.
And this,
And it only had a little bit of Grey Goose at that point. My Sprite, it's so right on top of it.
It was a choice.
and for me, you know, like this whole thing,
a choice
this-
doctor that I did not care for.
Me either. I didn't like that choice.
the absolute, you know, just they. As before, you know, like I said, you know, he was, you know, in the original, he's the babysitter murders, but now this one, he's just being completely indiscriminate. Yeah, he wanted his jumpsuit. Yeah, he wanted his mask. There was purpose in all of that. But now, like, he's back in Haddonfield, and he literally is just going door to door, killing everyone.
Well, I mean, it's been 40 years. He's
Flex those muscles. Gotta work the rust out, man.
got to work the rust out.
It's cold weather. It's just
Haddonfield After Dark.
40 years older. I gotta get
Well,
back in
first
the
of
mood.
all, this Haddonfield is jumping. There's like dozens of kids trick-or-treating on the streets. I mean, it's a very lively little town.
But it should be. I mean, it should
Yeah,
be.
but I mean, dude, there's a lot of
It's
hustle and
crazy.
bustle.
It's
I
like
mean,
a giant street party, and just you don't Haddonfield After Dark. That's such a character of its own in part 1, 2, and 4. The damp streets with the leaves everywhere, but you get. I'm sorry, you get more wide-angled shots of different things. It's not a right up on top of you like someone's shooting a found footage thing. You get more of the whole scenery, and they don't spend nearly enough time with
Aesthetically,
that.
it's a very different take.
And this is like what I had said earlier. Everything, you know, yeah, you're basically trying to watch Michael go through these houses, but like everything in these houses is an Easter egg throwback.
Well, you see the little kids go down the street in the Halloween 3 mask.
I thought they hinged
Yes.
the movie on those Easter eggs to me.
The Easter eggs didn't bother me at all.
No, but they hinged the whole movie on it.
Well, bear with me. He steals the knife from the first lady's kitchen that he kills. Then we follow him, and we go to the house next door, where a woman's on the phone being told, you hear some police sirens and whatnot, and you see this lady on the phone. We're outside her house filming through her living room window. She's talking to a friend who's telling her about Michael escaping or whatever. She gets off the phone. She comes up to the window and is kind of looking to see what's going on outside, and we see Michael behind her, and he shoves the knife directly through her throat. At that point, we jump inside the house with Michael. He pulls the knife out of her throat, and he slowly starts walking through the living room, and there's a baby in a crib right there. To me, the death of the 11-year-old boy at the bus and the inclusion of this, what we don't know yet is what's going to happen to the babysitting kid. But by killing that 10-year-old in that opening scene, everyone in that theater, it was audible. When he walked by that crib and they showed the baby in there, it was a like, is he gonna do something to that baby? Because anything goes. He killed that 11-year-old. Anything goes. I think the reason they did that was to set up this moment.
Scene. Yes.
This scene wouldn't be anything without him already seeing him kill a kid. And no, he does not kill the baby.
Well, and this, okay, so I have a few problems with this whole sequence. Yes, it was very effective. And you're right, even in my theater, and even with me, I'm like, there's no way they're going to go here. And when he makes that little sideways glance to the baby, I was like, oh crap. But this whole sequence didn't need to happen, because I don't understand him just showing up randomly in some stranger's house.
I do.
For this. But I did like the killing of the person in front of the window. That butcher knife through the throat looked great.
It did look really good.
It looked awesome. It was, to me, stylistically, it was my favorite kill of the entire movie.
To me,
I
at
was
this
like,
point,
it was.
to me, at
like-
this point, I'm at this point saying, all right, you know what? This is a guy. What Sartain always wanted to understand, why this guy loved killing so much, what this evil inside him, what he got out of killing. If it's true that that's Michael's driving force, whatever he experiences while killing, it propels him and it feeds him. After 40 years of being locked up with all these nitwits, doctor, is that the proper term?
Yes.
He's free. He is now just a great white shark at at a swim park
Yeah.
who can just start eating everything inside.
I think they honestly, if they
That's kinda
if
what
they didn't want him
Lewis
to kill
set
the baby,
up.
they should have shown or given him a reason not to. In other words, it would have been like, he's looking at the kid,
siren outside or
there,
something.
or all of a sudden
Yeah,
he looks out the
dog
window
barks.
and he sees like some other kids.
But ultimately,
or-
Michael is still a human being, and human beings still have weird.
Things about killing babies.
At that point,
Sure.
they should have just shown him stab the fucker right there and get on with it. Because you guys are talking about the different kills that you liked and everything, because of those, and I'm sorry, I'm going to keep coming back to it, because of the close-ups, and I should point out that I have a strong stomach. Gore never bothers me. The visceral impact of it with those extreme close-ups, not going to say that it was as bad as what happened in the zombie abominations. But if you're even...
Rob Zombie.
Yes. If you're even... Yes, to point that out. The Rob Zombie remakes. I'm not going to say it's as bad as that, but the close-ups and the visceral part of it... If you're even a short cab ride from the Rob Zombie Halloween ballpark, that's not good.
You didn't like the kill in the window? The butcher knife through the throat?
If it's not obvious by now, I didn't
like
like
it.
this movie. So no, I didn't care
Oh,
for
it's
it.
obvious. I actually liked it. I thought it was visually. I thought it was beautiful. I mean, the
I
frame
like
was
the
great.
killing of the woman off screen in her kitchen with the hammer. We don't see it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought that-
actually that's pretty good.
That is more of a throwback to the original off-screen
yeah.
violence. But then he follows it up with some very on-screen knife through the throat. It's kind of a little two different styles of killing. At this point, Doctor, I'm like, all right, let's see where this is going. Now he's been in his hometown. He's the great white shark has been
Unleashed.
I'm like, all right, well, maybe things can go. At this point, I kind of hit the reset button. As long as I'm not going to spend too much time with Judy Greer and the granddaughter. But of course, we're going to get a lot of that.
I would have liked to seen more of him lurking behind bushes like he did in the earlier movies.
I missed that.
we only
I
have-
missed
He's
it.
just walking right out there like, who gives a fuck?
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
Jim,
know.
you're
He's bumping
absolutely
in.
right.
He's bumping
You're
in.
absolutely
He's
right.
bumping into trick or treaters right or left.
Yeah,
But then,
no, you're
ooh,
right.
look,
You're
it's the
absolutely
Halloween
right.
3 masks.
That flashback shot or that cutback shot to the hedges where he's standing there, and then the cutback where he's not. It needed way more of that.
Well, we
Yeah.
do get one of those scenes. We're getting there.
Oh, I will say, going into it, okay, so a little bit of leather.
I was going to touch base with the cigar.
More
You were
of a-
right, by the way. Started the first third. The strength did
Strength does pick
pick up, which I really wanted it to, and you're right, it did.
So I'm getting a little bit more of a leather into it, more of a muted coffee, kind of not like the nutty bright flavors of coffee, but just the nice earthy coffee.
Not
that I
chock
just-
full of nuts.
Right? No, not Tut's back deck full of nuts.
Going to my notes.
It's,
A lot of nuts in here.
No,
So-
I like the second half of this cigar a lot better than I like the first.
yeah, me
half.
too. Yax?
I will agree.
And I am getting some of that leather in the final third as well.
I'm not sure it personifies Michael, but
I'll say
No,
that.
but I mean, yeah, it's a tall order.
no. If you're gonna do freaking slashers, you gotta have some strength on this.
I should feel like I'm smoking a road flare.
I should. When I take a puff off this, I want Luma sitting there. By God, Jason.
Yeah, it's a much stronger cigar in the final third. You agree?
It is.
And earth and mineral are still
I'm
there.
still-
Coffee's died down. Leather's come up.
It's the earth and mineral flavor. It's come home to kill.
Yes.
I was waiting for you to do some Loomis. Doc, did you like it?
Yeah, I the change for me was fairly subtle. Did you guys feel that way? It didn't like, all of a sudden, boom, now
No,
into a
no,
whole other.
no,
it's
you're right.
subtle.
It was a
It's-
gradual
it's-
transition.
It stayed consistent. I haven't had to relight it once.
I have only because I've been jibber jabbering. Yeah. I'm glad it did the transition there
Yes.
in the second half that it did. But yes, construction's been great, and I'm really enjoying the bolstered spice on the nose in addition to the leather. That wasn't there in the first 2/3. It's there now, and it took the place of the coffee. And yeah, I'm actually enjoying it. You guys want to talk price point?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, man, I always have a problem with these novelty cigars.
Doctor, you're first.
Yeah, I always think it's better for me to go first because I think you guys have more experience in figuring these things out. How many were in your special box that you got?
13.
13, okay.
But I think in the smaller boxes, there's 10.
Okay.
But in the smaller boxes, those are widely available. You can get those a little bit easier.
I'm guessing that you had to pay a little more for the packaging.
Oh yeah, don't take that into just judge.
Just try to judge it on its own.
Judge the cigar on its own.
It's a big cigar.
It is a big cigar. Slow burning. It
lasts you a while. Looking at the time, I always try to think what I would pay for it and what it costs.
It's a good approach.
Man, I'd pay double digits for it. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is a $12 stick.
$12. Cody.
13. No, actually, I'd probably put this.
It is a big, slow burning cigar.
I'd probably say it's about $9.50, $10.
Tut.
I like that $9.50 call, but I will go down to $8.99.
You son of a.
I'm going to say 13 since you took your 13 off the table.
My thought was I'd gladly.
Is that you give me that look because you wanted to say 13? Is that what this was about?
My thought, Cade, was that I would gladly.
It's not a contest.
I would gladly pay 10.
Can I win a T-shirt? I win the T-shirt?
I would gladly pay 10 for it, so I assumed 12.
13.
I knew it. I just wanted to say it.
I win. I get the T-shirt.
You also bought them, so.
You bought them.
Box presentation.
It's a Tatawa Michael. It's come home to kill.
No, they say like some strange number like 19.78.
You haven't got a cigar cutter. These men might be the only help you've got right now. Now I'm pushing it.
I will say with
the cigar is pure evil.
The theme.
Oh no! If you want that box,
then you will be paying $19.78 a cigar.
Oh no, you're paying premium for that box.
Evil in an Ecuadorian wrapper.
I'm giving you MSRP. I'm giving you MSRP if you want to go out and buy some right now.
Oh, okay.
In a that box.
Well, what would they be if they were in that box?
Oh, you don't want to know what they were in that box.
We've got to get these cigars behind locked doors.
I really do want to know. I have to know.
I don't remember.
Say something. Say something.
Well,
Man, if you've got
I'd go there.
If you've got a 90-minute stogie that you enjoy, by today's prices, man, that's not a
Tut's gonna give you. Tut's gonna say, well, there's a dozen cigars I can list off at
that have the same
$5 less that will last you just the same and give you just the same, if not better,
even like $3,
if not better flavor. Yeah, I mean it's an occasion cigar. It's a Halloween monster cigar.
That's the only way that I would adjust.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's a Michael Myers cigar, and you smoke it on Halloween. You don't see a lot of people posting monster cigar shots in January or February.
True.
I mean, it's just kind of.
I'm not going to kill it for the value, though.
Okay, well, that's what it is, and I did.
I
did enjoy it.
I will, like Michael Myers, just run a butcher knife all through this price value score.
Fair enough. Well, at the big Halloween dance, Allison calls Vicky, the babysitter, on her cell phone to tell her that they're headed that way. But just then, she looks back into the dance and she sees her boyfriend, Cameron, making out with another girl, and she's crushed.
Who gives a shit?
Okay.
The other girl was pretty hot.
Yeah, she was.
We've seen him a couple of times now. Cameron's friend.
There is a chubby friend who... I mentioned this when I walked out of the theater. I was like, does Hollywood have this factory that pumps out like these... Like, he's kind of, whether it's the Foggy Nelson from Daredevil...
Thank you, because I was like, there's no way
or
this
that
is
Josh
Foggy
Gad
Nelson.
guy. I don't care if it was the 70s movies, 80s. There's always just these chubby kids that look exactly the same.
But
Today they call it the Jonah Hill School.
But this guy is the spitting freaking image of Foggy Nelson.
From Daredevil.
Sounds like him, acts like him, has the same mannerisms of him. I'm like, is
Dude,
this
what's
his
this, Return
kid?
of the Living Dead? I think they got some kind of farm.
I think they
putting
got
out-
some kind of chubby
I really
farm down there.
when I first saw him, I'm like,
We like what you got, kid, but we're gonna need you to eat these 10 pizzas every day.
when I saw him, I was like, there's no way that this guy is Foggy Nelson. But I really thought that this guy. I was like, well, maybe they CGI'd him. Maybe he's the kid of him. He was so close to Foggy. I thought that this
there's
guy
a
might
million-
be his
Is this
kid.
why we couldn't have better character development because they spent it all on CGI on making Foggy Nelson's kid?
That was $8 million of our $10 million budget. We recreated a younger Foggy Nelson.
I thought that he was. I mean, I seriously, I was like trying to figure out how they did this with Foggy.
Dude, there's a million of these kids. They all look the same. Every
But he
mo-
looked
I
exactly
know,
like
dude, but
him.
every teen movie has this exact kid in it, and they all look just like this kid.
The fat kid partier who's got a couple of one-liners.
And he always looks like this, dude.
This was a spitting freaking image of
Do you want a
Foggy.
Josh Gad or a Foggy Nelson? Do you have something like in between? Give us a couple days.
Where are we going to find somebody to play this role? Well, we'll just go down the street to the Jonah Hill School of Chubby Fat Idiots.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Well, she grabs... Cameron tries to downplay him making out with this other chick, but she doesn't cut him any slack whatsoever. I can't believe you did this to me. So he does the next best thing, grabs her phone. You know what? All you care is you've been on this thing all night anyway. Dumps it in the punch bowl.
That'll impress her.
Well, I don't think it was punch because it
was like-
slowly
it was like-
say. I think it was like a bowl of queso or something.
It looked like pudding, but I was like, why would they have
It
a...
was like it
Why would
was
they have
Tut's oatmeal stout. He just threw it in there. You know what? I'm pissed off at you. You just caught me making out with another chick. I'm going to throw your phone in this bowl of porridge.
Oh, and then she's all indignant. Are you drunk? She was sitting there with him when he was drinking out of a flask.
Yeah? TNCC style.
How dare you drink before we go over to our friend's house while she's babysitting a 10-year-old to smoke dope? God,
Oh,
who
yeah.
gives a fuck?
Her
man?
high horse. She was about to go smoke weed with a 10-year-old upstairs sleeping. Good point, dog.
She turns around and goes, does a couple of lines of coke off a mirror.
Well,
And I'm sorry, this was part of the mishmash. I just didn't care. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why
Why?
am I seeing this dance? Why do I care?
Am I wrong? It makes sense. He's Lonnie Elam's son. What an asshole.
Yeah.
So Allison grabs her chubby friend, who Tut point out, Oscar, and they bail on the dance. Back at the babysitting gig, Michael has arrived, and soon both Vicky and her boyfriend Dave, who was great in the movie Clockers. He's Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon's son.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Which one is this?
Dave, the boyfriend over
one
the
that drops the
babysitting house.
motorcycle.
The one that starts up the motorcycle. Yeah, it's Tim Robbins' son. And he's really, really funny in Clockers.
Why is Myers in this house?
No, the boyfriend, Dave, who's dating the babysitter.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
That's
Tut, your plate of catfish was too big. Why is Myers in this house?
He's still making his way down the street.
literally, house
this,
by
this
house.
Is, this is sensible in what way?
No, it's
He
not.
killed the lady in this house, the lady in this house, and then she's babysitting in the next house.
Okay.
He's just working his way down. He's a great white shark. He's not asking
Hey,
questions.
all right. Hey, you know.
Block on the left.
He actually stabs Dave so hard he impales him to the living room wall,
Be all that you can be.
much like he did poor Bob back in '78. Even takes a moment to kind of study him there.
No, I'm sorry. I'm done with that.
Ooh, another throwback. I've got a boner. That makes this whole movie.
I'm done with that. The whole head tilt studying. I understand it's iconic. It was iconic when it was done. I understand that that's an immediate recognizable throwback. I'm done with it. I just, to me, it's just kind of like, oh, remember this? Remember this moment?
Oh, at this point, you're done with throwbacks.
my God.
Well,
Look
no,
what it
I'm
always
just,
do. Look at
I'm just
this.
done with the head tilt. I'm just kind of like, for some reason, that just shocks me right out of the movie. It's just kind of like, I get it.
All right, that didn't bother me at all.
It did. For some reason, I fixed it.
And there's a moment where despite the kid being funny and adorable, you have to wonder if he's going to get it too.
I did wonder that.
Killed
but
another kid his age because basically the Vicky, when she went up to tuck him in to his bed, he wanted her to, he was afraid. He said he saw the boogeyman up there, and when she goes to close his closet door, Michael's in the closet and he goes after her. Dave is stepped outside for a smoke, and he's fired up the motorcycle. Conveniently, right when she's screaming, it's when he hits the... But yeah,
the kids' oh shit moment brought the theater just roarous laughter.
Big time. The kid sees Myers. Oh shit! And he runs. Michael does not kill him, and the little kid gets away.
Oh, haha! 10-year-old said shit.
Well, because he's the only smart one, because he actually runs. He runs the fuck out of there. We don't ever see him again.
Correct. With
Yeah, you never do.
the little Weisenheimer, we assume survives. With the gas station deaths, the bodies found at the bus crash site. Now
he was the smartest one in the movie. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
He truly was. Run. And now the gruesome death of Dave and Vicky. The film does not skimp on blood and gore. I mean, it's you can't knock it for that. So Lori now goes back with the Haddonfield cops to her daughter Karen's house, and with the cops there backing up Lori's story, finally Karen and Ray agree to go with her to her compound. Not to the police
My mother's
station,
here with cops and they're not arresting her?
where it might be safe. But we learned from Halloween 5, which remember we didn't see, that the police station in Haddonfield is one of the least safest places in the world. But they can't get their daughter Allison on the phone, obviously, because he threw her phone in the queso.
Asshole.
What an asshole. You ever try to get queso off a cell phone? I have. It's not easy. Allison and her portly friend Oscar roamed the dark neighborhood streets of Haddonfield. Again, not wide. Pretty tight on them walking down the middle of the street. You're not getting any sense of the town, of the space.
Environment.
She laments about her dickbag boyfriend and his cheating ways. So Oscar naturally finds this as a cue to put the moves on her and tries to kiss her.
It's my time.
Because that always ends well. Just ask another psychopath we feature on the show, Ducky from Pretty in Pink. The minute Andrew McCarthy was giving her a little bit of grief, Duckman tried to swoop in as well. That never works.
If you were going to delve into it at all, and I didn't, hey, he's a high school boy, high school senior, I guess. He's been drunk at this party. He made some move.
He's
Whatever.
portly. It's time to go.
Yeah, poor guy. Well, Allison, she's not feeling it. She pushes him away. Leaves. Can't believe he's pulling this shit. He's supposed to be your friend, and he finds himself sitting there drunk in this backyard with Michael Myers. There's a really cool scene somewhere in here where the motion sensor backyard lights come on and off as Michael moves and gets closer and closer to Oscar. The kid thinks that Mikey's the guy who owns the house, Mr. Elrod,
Right.
who would somehow be hanging out in his backyard with a Halloween mask on. Just
Okay. Well, it's Halloween. I
he's
guess.
drunk. He's drunk enough to where he's not freaking out about
Had
it.
some catfish IPAs.
He's had a few catfish IPAs.
CC stuff.
Maybe not seeing too well.
I just don't think this scene was executed to its fullest. That on and off lights could have been filmed and edited so much tighter, to where when the light comes on, Michael's. It was just kind of
Pop.
yeah, pop. It was just kind of random.
Pause. The pace of it wasn't there.
And sometimes
Yeah.
Michael would have moved, sometimes he didn't move. Like the motion sensor light's a great idea.
Yeah.
And it could have really, because the Halloween movie, especially original, plays so much with shadow and light.
Yeah.
It could have been a really cool scene, but they just blew it. They didn't do it well.
The pace was lost on this in the editing.
Regardless, Oscar gets a fence spike shoved through his jaw, and his agonizing, high-pitched, girly screams prompts Allison to A, feel really good about not making out with him, and B, run like hell to a neighbor's house. And unlike back in 78, where Lori went neighbor to neighbor and nobody would help her, the first person actually opens the door, lets her in, and calls the cops.
Yay!
Michael wasn't even chasing her. He's already moving on.
So?
No, I'm just saying. He wasn't right on her coattails. He don't. Oh, she left. I'm gonna go kill somebody else. This is important. There's a really classic Halloween wide shot here when she runs away from the death and comes around the side of the house in the neighborhood. It's like the doctor said, that first wide shot at the asylum. This is the next one I noticed. It's a wide shot of the street and the house. She comes around the fog is drifting aside. She comes around the corner running, trying to get into the house. My eyes were stuck on that right-hand corner of the screen waiting to see
if
the
he comes
shape.
through?
He never came.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a reason for that. I kept watching
First off,
and watching.
Michael Myers does not climb fences. He was trying to find the door, but he couldn't.
Well, here's the
He
thing.
had so much trouble getting that trunk open earlier in the afternoon. He's not fucking with that Pence.
Here's the thing. Michael's not chasing her because Michael doesn't have a clue who she is. And how could he? And even if he knew she was Laurie's daughter, I got the sense he still wouldn't have given a shit.
No.
The Michael in this film is truly the great white shark, as we said, just killing what's in front of him with no predestined purpose. He's not obsessed with Laurie. He hasn't thought of her once probably over the last 40 years. It's her obsession with him, or more accurately, her trauma, that has kept this whole relationship going and nothing else. She can't quit him. No fault of her own, not the other way around. He cares
So
less
then
about her.
Why, if this is a true sequel of the original film, why in the first movie, when he's 21 years old, why does he stalk them in that movie? He's not the great white shark in that movie going from house to house.
No.
And you can delve into it all you want to and be armchair psychiatrist. She goes up and puts a note in the old Myers house, and he's hiding in there because that's his home. And obviously, when they wrote that movie, they had no plan that she was going to be his sister. That wasn't in the cards. Is Myers at age 21? Was there some sort of sexual frustration? He sees these teenage girls, but he starts slowly stalking them.
I think the age thing is important. What you just said. He's a stunted 21-year-old who's in his house, where the only place he knows. He sees this cute teenage girl come up to his door.
He starts following her.
And her friends, and becomes ducky-ish, kind of obsessed with them.
Why would Myers?
40 years later, he's not a 21-year-old horn dog anymore.
Why in this iteration, he wouldn't give shit number one about Laurie Strode?
He doesn't.
Well,
he doesn't. At any point in this movie, he doesn't care about getting Laurie.
Let's continue.
Film writer, a guy I really like reading his stuff, Devin Faraci, wrote a really great article on this aspect of the film over at his website, Cinema Sangha. I encourage everyone to go check it out. Seriously, though, think about it. She could have moved across the country 40 years ago, bought a house, started a life, and been fine. She's totally out of harm's way 4 goddamn decades ago, and that it just started over like that. She'd be okay. Only, and this movie harps on that, and it's actually, there's something to it, despite a million problems I have with this movie. It comes back to her trauma. The trauma of experiencing something like that night in 1978. It has led her to act and live the way she has. And when it comes to that kind of trauma, it's not that's that. Nothing is just that's that. So, yeah, you can question her choices, but, she saw what she saw and it had the effect that it did. But Michael could care less about her, and I'm going to get to why that's apparent throughout this entire thing. This is all about her and him, not him and her, which is a turn on the usual style. Usually it's Jason going after this. It's Michael obsessed with getting... This is her, not him. This is her problem, not his problem. So Karen and her affable husband Ray arrive at Laurie's compound, and immediately she starts arming them with guns from her basement. As the giant kitchen island, there's a little remote, and it moves on like a tract and reveals the secret basement stairs. Ray's like, what the hell's this? And Judy Greer's like, it's my childhood. Didn't believe that for a second.
I kind of did.
Man, can you imagine Christina Ricci or Eliza Dushku, both born in 1980, so it would have worked to be Laurie's daughter. Can you imagine what they could do with this role? I can, and it would have been much better.
Yeah.
They'd fit the timeline and the character like a glove. Christina Ricci, especially, I think, would do really, really good in this movie.
Did Ricci go out for the role?
I don't have the kind of...
I'm still not sure I fault the actress.
Okay.
She's got to take some responsibility, sure.
No. It always is the director's fault. You can always cut and have a moment with your actress and this isn't working. Let's figure this out. No. Judy Greer's a pretty big name. I always think there's that pressure on a set. If Brad Pitt's not saying it the way you want him to, it's kind of a sensitive thing to be like, I know you're one of the biggest movie stars in the world, but here's how you might want to change that. I think a lot of directors just don't feel comfortable doing that, and then you end up with this.
Well, I think it comes down to you need to establish the purpose of the character, and if you don't have that purpose in every single line that they deliver or every single scene that they're in, then the character gets lost. There's no purpose of that character. Acting, I think, and it's the same way within business as well. If you can establish your purpose, not your goal, not your mission, but your purpose, then that can be the foundation of everything that you deliver after that. And I don't really know what the purpose. Her purpose was to
give Lori a greater purpose beyond her protecting herself. She's protecting her family.
But then, if the film is a disjointed mishmash of different vignettes, it's going to be kind of hard to make a connection with Karen, no matter who plays her.
And I can agree with that. I can. I'm a lot less harsh than what you guys are, at least what the doctor is. But no, I can totally agree with that and support that.
Well, okay. Allison catches a ride with Officer Hawkins and Dr. Sartain. They're kind of side by side now. At one point, Dr. Sartain is like, "Hey, I'm the new Loomis."
Lori even says that. She was like, "Oh, you're the new Loomis."
They addressed that situation.
At which point I stood up like the British male podcaster and yelled at the screen, "You're not the new Loomis! You're not! Say something! Say something!"
Dare you sully the
Back to
name of Donald Pleasance?
I will want to interrupt a little bit for the cigar. I'm about to light up the Boondock. But back to the Myers. Man, that nub actually strengthened up quite a bit. I found the nub very nice.
Oh yeah,
yes. I'm hanging on.
I'm not letting this go.
It's getting a little more
the
fun.
final third of this cigar.
The final third was awesome.
Is the highlight.
It was really, really good. The strength was there. The flavor was just very rich, very strong.
Yeah, it really came alive in the final third. Agreed. So if you get it, Michael, cut off the first 2/3 and just smoke the final.
Pretty much, yeah. Take your butcher knife.
Has anybody chimed in on favorite Halloween movies or anything? No. Really, if I can
Derek Matthews is now watching again.
If I can find the,
he must have heard that I just like cut the Boondock, and he was like, "Oh, there you go."
If I get my hands on the guy who came up with this idea for Facebook Live, I'm gonna go podcaster on his ass.
Say something.
Tut, can you yell at our Facebook audience to say something?
Say something! Say something!
I got a shirt.
It's a Tuesday Night Cigar Club T-shirt. It's come home to kill.
It's pure evil.
If nobody, if
You're talking about the doctor as if he were
never left. There was something with his phone. I apologize, Derek.
You talk about him as if he was an
You're
ordinary.
talking about Derek Matthews' phone as if it were a normal phone. That part of it died years ago.
Well, so Allison is riding with Hawkins and Sartain. They're taking her to Lori's compound. On the way, Allison sees Michael walking down the sidewalk.
Oh, by the way, I have to interrupt. Derek says, "I love Tut." Shirt that man.
3 total comments, a podcast in flames. That's what I've seen between here and Haddonfield. I tell you, Derek Matthews is listening to this podcast.
I tell you, Derek Matthews is listening.
Sartain?
Michael's just walking down the sidewalk.
Just walking down the sidewalk.
Snapping his fingers. just doing his thing.
I would have laughed if they showed him just getting like a hot dog from a little street hot dog stand.
Well, Officer Hawkins, who was there, 40 years ago, he swore not to let Michael slip through his fingers again.
And he is the only one in this entire movie that acts sane.
He puts the car in overdrive, jumps the curb, and rams Myers' ass with his cop car.
Nails that son of a bitch. I'm like, this guy has his shit going on.
Yes.
Well, to add to that, Hawkins immediately gets out, pulls out his gun, and he's ready to go over there.
We're going Tut style.
I'm not going to go check. I'm not going to go and get close to him and see if he's alive. I'm going to start shooting that son of a bitch from far away.
But then,
He should have shot.
get this. Sartain jumps out, wrestles the gun away from him. You think it's just the doctor maybe protecting his patient.
I'm done.
But no. Sartain pulls out this sharp little dagger and kills Officer Hawkins. Then
And the
he
only
reaches,
sane character is now dead.
and then he reaches down, pulls the mask off Mike, puts it on him, and starts doing a little dance in front of the police car in front of the things.
I'm done.
Now it's become Chainsaw
farce?
Massacre 2.
It's a farce.
Sartain drags Michael's unconscious body back into the back of the patrol car where he stuffs him in with a screaming Allison and he drives off. You see, boys and ghouls, Dr. Sartain has been studying Michael for so long now that he just has to know what it feels like to kill. He has to get a taste of it for himself to hopefully gain a greater glimpse into what drives Michael to be the force of evil that he is.
Apparently it's contagious, like the podcaster. He so badly wants to hear Michael speak. Why do they so badly need to hear him talk?
All he wants is Michael to talk.
Why
But since
does
Michael-
everyone have this?
Since Michael wouldn't express to him what it feels like to kill and what drives him, he has to do it himself.
But he still is so bent on hearing him talk.
But it's
Yes.
Why do they all want him to talk?
But it's not set up. I understand the psychological angle that they're going for. You've studied this guy. You've gotten into his pelt so much that you kind of lost yourself in it. But they didn't set that up correctly.
No, we actually don't see Sartain for this. We're in the final third of the film. He disappeared for a great stretch of film.
You mean it was disjointed?
And I actually think that it's kind of a loss on this part because I kind of like this guy, the actor that's playing Sartain. I think that he's got a good presence. I think he's got a good voice.
More on that later. As he drives Sartain drives the patrol car to Laurie's compound. All of a
Which
sudden,
everybody apparently knows where it is.
yeah, he does too. All of a sudden, things are making sense for me as far as what's going on here. Although it's never spelled out for us, here's my theory. Sartain orchestrated for the podcasters to come when they did. He wanted them to get Michael pumped up, show him the mask, try to get a rise out of him. He arranged for the bus transfer the night before Halloween. What are the odds that's going to happen? Michael's going to get transferred. He arranged for that, and it was Sartain who made the bus crash and he released Michael from his shackles.
Yes.
And let's face it, because Michael Myers, if they're going back just to the original, he's chained with leg cuffs and handcuffs to probably a steel pole in the middle of this bus. He's not breaking out of that.
Yeah.
Sartain let him loose.
Yeah.
Well, but
I should've showed that.
it is spelled out because, I mean, when the little boy goes on the bus, where is Sartain? He's not in the front of the bus. He's in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Where Michael Myers was.
He orchestrated all this to unleash Michael once again on the poor little town of Haddonfield as a field test, as an observational study. He wants
Right.
to see Michael back in
his element.
the
So
fishbowl.
what is the ultimate angle that Sartain is going to have? Because you just killed a sheriff's deputy.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't going to be a research paper. And I'm sure the skinheads who are beating and raping you in the maximum security prison shower where you're going to spend the rest of your days are going to be real interested in hearing your theories.
He can blame that on Michael. In his mind. I'm thinking.
I'm sorry, man.
He's truly the
I don't
evil
buy any of
doctor.
it.
He even has an evil mad scientist mustache and a fruity little European accent. He's the evil doctor. Personally, unlike Tut, this actor didn't do anything for me.
Nothing for me.
He honestly,
right on
he
the indifferent
reminded
scale with
me
everybody
of David Suchet, the actor.
Cocktoastin?
Yes, Cocktoastin. No, he did the Perot, the series.
Yeah, I got you.
I thought he reminded me a little bit of the guy from what's the Western on HBO that cussed all the time?
Deadwood.
The main guy in that.
No,
he
it
kind of reminded me of that guy a little bit.
Swearingen.
Ian McShane?
Yeah, a little bit. He kind of had an Ian McShane about him.
Well, he had the eyes.
Started that as a McShane insult.
No, he had the eyes of Ian, so he had a little bit of a presence there. I can see that.
For a director who worked on so many indie films where acting is so often raw but true and so key to the storytelling, I just can't believe how many performances here David Gordon Green let slip through the cracks. Laurie, Vicky the babysitter, and maybe towards some moments the podcasters worked. Everyone else, literally,
Sartain did nothing for me.
Once again, in order to scare, you gotta care.
Okay, I'm
Very
too much
true.
into my Evil Catfish, but Brooke said Sarchet.
Ah, okay.
Thank you.
She want a T-shirt?
I think if you come through with that, you get a T-shirt.
Brooke gets a T-shirt.
Okay. Brooke's getting a t-shirt.
Brooke gets a T-shirt. She's been with us from the beginning. She's one of our oldest fans.
Well, a challenge. Somebody's got to top that. That's A+.
I got 2 T-shirts.
Oh, now you got 2 T-shirts?
Yeah, I got 2 T-shirts.
You son of a...
I give Brooke a T-shirt. Someone else get a T-shirt. Hey, she came up with the answer.
Good job, Brooke.
Yeah. Usually you're on top of that stuff. You've had a lot of Evil Catfish, though.
Not too many. I'm going to have a whole lot more to get through the rest of this.
Well, like I said, in order to scare, you got to care.
Very true.
You know who does care a lot, fellas?
Who cares a lot?
Our good friends at Drew Estate.
They care a lot.
Wasn't that an old...
Faith No More song.
We care a lot. It's a dirty job, but someone's gotta do it. Whoa, whoa.
That's the first thing that's made me smile all night. They make a unique cigar line, as I said, called Acid. Tut, you like Acid?
Yeah.
Kuba Kuba?
I'm tripping on it right now.
Kuba Kuba.
I'm tripping on
Kuba
that.
Kuba. You like the Blondie?
Kuba Kuba.
I do like the Blondie.
I'm a fan of the Acid 1, infused with red wine. Imagine that.
Man,
Imagine that. Kate likes a cigar that's been soaking in 4 different varieties of red wine and sangria.
I had one acid cigar. It wasn't a Drew Estate one, I think.
Oh, they're the only ones that do acid.
And it must have been.
Yeah, they.
I don't care for the one that I had.
Yeah, that was. If it wasn't Drew Estate, it was
Okay, a knockoff.
A knockoff.
That's possible. I spend time in unsavory parts of town.
You're a doctor. You're trying to help people.
Trying to help people. Buy imitation Rolexes, whatever.
All the acid cigars are carefully handcrafted using some of the world's finest tobacco with more than 140 herbs, botanicals, and other essential oils to get their unique aroma and flavor. Experiencing acid cigars is the only way to truly understand them. Similar to all Drew Estate cigars, their construction is flawless since they are rolled in Sumatra, Maduro, Connecticut, and African wrappers. I believe that's what the Acid 1 is, an African wrapper. So head on out to your favorite cigar retailer, grab a handful of acid cigars, and let the TNCC know what you think. Although that's not going so great tonight on the... I've been begging people to tell us what you think. Hey, Tut's gone. I can... This whole Facebook Live thing was his doing.
I'm a fan of the experimentation. That's me. I like hypotheses.
Well, like I said in the beginning, because we do have the word cigar in our name, we're not allowed to promote our podcast on Google or Facebook. We can't promote it. Anybody else, you can spend like $10 and it reaches 10,000 more people than normal. We can't do that.
There's only so many Hillsboro truck stops I can order a sandwich board at.
Get busy. Get busy.
I almost did in that Hillsboro truck stop.
This is what I've seen between here and Hillsboro.
Here's what I've seen between Hillsboro. A truck stop in flames.
Well, the patrol car with Dr. Sartain, Allison, and Sleepy Michael stops down the street from Lori's compound. The doc is taking them there for one final showdown with Lori. And again, this is where we're going. If he hadn't driven Michael to Lori's house, Michael would have never gone to Lori's house. Michael doesn't give a shit about going to Lori's house.
He would have just gone house to house.
He would still be in town doing his thing. He's only... Sartain brought him here.
Okay.
Yeah. That kind of... Okay.
Don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't give a hot shit about Lori. He's just looking for more babysitters to kill. Why does Sartain stop the car down the street from Lori's? Well, Allison bluffs and tells the Mad Doctor that Michael said something to her when he killed her friend Oscar. He hits those brakes. He said something to you.
And,
What'd he say? What'd he say?
And Sartain turns into the pocket. Say it! What did he say?
Say it!
I don't understand why they're so desperate to get him to talk.
What if he talked and it was like a crazy voice, like, "Hey, everybody!" Like, it's like a Mickey Mouse voice. That'd be fun. I mean, that'd be something.
I don't know. I really see.
Tut's idea is Mike Tyson.
I really see
I don't
Myers.
know why I was trying to kill people. I mean, if
For some reason, I
was trying to kill somebody. Why are you guys on my
He's been
back?
waiting 40 years to hear this guy talk for some reason, and when she says that he talked to her, he freaks out.
No, he's that dude from The Simpsons that runs the Costington's department store. Michael, say something.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I have a brain tumor. That's wonderful.
He's like, you know what? Go back to being silent.
Well, suddenly, while she's stalling, she just made it up to buy time. Somehow she... Oh, I guess he maybe says, like, I've just been waiting to hear him speak. While she's stalling, Michael wakes up next to her in the back seat, and he starts kicking the back of the driver's seat real hard, crushing Sartain against the steering wheel.
Once again, just smashing some dude's face into something is his forte.
Well, it gets worse. The doctor stumbles out of the car. Michael gets out and just curb stomps his head like a melon. Just stomps on it. It's like he stomps on a cantaloupe.
It was a terrible effect.
It
He smashes his head, and it just
explodes.
Yeah, it just you're right, like a giant
like
just cassava melon. It just
By the way,
evaporates.
I know TW's watching out there. So Boondock TW, I know you're a big fan of it.
It's a beautiful looking ash you got going over there.
Yeah.
When's the last time you guys said anything about my beautiful little ash? We'll talk about it after the show. It is a just over the top
Brooke, call for help. We're here against our will.
Shut up. Have another drink.
Okay.
It is a cheesy effect. I mean, they basically filled a water balloon with guts and he just stomped on it.
I think this was one of those scenes to where I think they wanted you to want the doctor to die, and they thought that this would be the payoff for it, but they never set it up, so you really didn't care.
And I really wanted the doctor to die, like, slowly as his throat's being crushed. Why haven't you said anything?
Say something. Give it to me, just one thing.
It's like Michael stomped on like a bag of wet sod. It just is.
Yeah, it was. Well, two Haddonfield cops who've been parked down the road in front of Lori's place. They were put there as sentries to watch over things.
This is classic cop behavior. What's going on down there? I don't know.
Hawkins' car is just parked down there with the lights swirling for like 10 minutes. Well, because they're too busy pontificating over the differences in their sandwich choices.
Yes, who wants a banh mi?
Hilarious little comedic moment of dialogue that was so not hilarious.
No, it was obvious what they were trying to do. The cop, the sidekick comic relief cops is like a staple in a lot of this stuff.
Halloween 5.
And they just
What
missed.
I was expecting was Michael to break through the window and just pound that dude's face into the steering wheel.
Well,
that I would have liked.
Well, they finally finish their snacks and drive down the road to see what all the commotion's about.
And then, of course, pull completely blunder cop behavior. I'm going to get out. What's going on? Who's doing what?
Well,
I can't figure it out.
Michael takes care of these two putzes in his own special way. I'm sorry, all the attempts at dialogue-based humor in this film, with the exception of the smartass little kid who worked for me, didn't work for the doctor, none of it worked for me. And I guess, again, because maybe I don't like Danny McBride, this is his brand of humor. If you can call it humor, it's not funny.
It was very dry.
Nobody in the theater laughed during the sandwich talk.
By the time these two dipshits show up,
is it supposed to be a comedic? Is this a horror comedy?
Why do we need a little 2-minute scene of these guys talking about their sandwiches? They're not going to live more than 2 more minutes. We don't need to get to know these guys.
Like I said, I was expecting.
If you don't,
I was
care,
expecting
you don't
Michael
scare.
Myers to break through the fucking window and just pound the dude's face.
At this point, I don't care about Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, the guys making this movie.
I agree with Tut that it was obvious what they were trying to do. It failed miserably, and at this point, my airplane minis of Grey Goose were gone, and I couldn't have given a flying fuck about what happened to these two assholes.
Well, a cop car then pulls up to Lori's house. It gets through the gate, and it got through that gate easy.
Well, considering they're both dead and they're propped up with sticks, I mean,
I didn't see anybody buzz them in. Dad Ray the Wiz, walks out to see what's going on. Wants to talk to the cops, see if they found Allison. He opens the door and he sees the two cops dead and mutilated. One of them, like Myers, peeled his face off. It's just kind of the face is laying there on the.
He turned it into like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, he kind of like some lit some stuff. Which again, Michael likes to. He puts tombstones in bed. He is on presentation.
He's a little prankster.
That didn't.
What do you expect with that voice?
But it was also very similar, Doctor, to the dead cops in Halloween 5, the goofball cops, and how they find them dead in the cop car. But remember, we didn't see that film. That film doesn't exist. And then Dad Ray, the Wiz, gets strangled by Myers with, were they wind chimes?
Something.
It's like some kind of
Didn't care
wind
at
chimes.
this point.
Lori sees what's going on outside and locks up the house. How she's locking up the house? 40 years she's had to build this secure Fort Knox. Better start locking some windows.
Oh no, Wiz. We should go help him.
And she
It was too
prepares
late.
for war as her daughter Karen stays safely down the basement. Michael grabs Lori through the front door window and starts slamming her repeatedly against it. She barely breaks free, grabs a shotgun, and blows some of his fingers off. There's now a cat and mouse game throughout the house. He's obviously gets in the house. 40 years of planning, she couldn't avoid that outcome. He's in.
This is way too long.
She sweeps each room, rifle first, for him. When she backs out of a room and is convinced he's not in there, she hits these buttons and these cage doors come down over
Which
each
is
of the
pointless when she should have just locked all the doors from the beginning.
things. Couldn't her and her
Yeah.
daughter got in one of those rooms and just slapped it and locked themselves in there?
Once again, I was like, okay, if your point was to sweep the
No, I
room
can't
and
say
lock it,
For 40 years, I would have made a room in the house that was a box of steel that I could get in with my family, and it would be impenetrable. And we just wait till the cops came.
Yeah.
You had 40 years to plan this.
well, no. The point is you make the impenetrable box.
She spent all her money on mannequins to shoot.
You make a box that
Her
you can't.
mannequin budget was quite impressive.
You make. Well, obviously, her point was to burn the fucking house down from the beginning.
Correct.
So you would have made the box that once he gets in, he can't get out. You get in your safe
And-
box. You burn the rest of the house down.
Like a human-sized fireproof safe.
Correct.
Would you have snacks in there?
Of course.
You don't know how long you're going to be in there.
Might as well.
My panic room is gonna have snacks,
What kind of snacks?
peanuts and Steel Reserve.
Poker mix.
Oh, yeah. God.
It'll last 15 years.
That'll last till 100 years.
All of that varnish.
Fine, will last 2 hours. Well, I drank all my Steels, ate my bag of peanuts. I guess I'm gonna starve to death. Didn't think this one through.
I would need... And where am I going to go to the bathroom? I just drank 4 tall cans of Steel Reserve.
Oops.
Well, I left this little hatch open. Michael stabs you through it. Steel Reserve.
Oh, the irony! Drinking will help me plan.
Bring me my drinking hat.
Still hasn't said anything.
Well, she's going through the house and sealing each room as she goes through it.
Well, I've played video games that were less complicated.
You know, as she goes through this room with this rifle, you'd think over the last 40 years she would have got like an AR-15 with one of those bump stock things or something.
No, I mean
It's like an old-timey, like, Western rifle.
Well, my problem is it literally is the longest, and she's like having to lead into the room. Like Michael literally can just grab the end, and she's like still 8 feet outside the room.
No shit. Okay, you've had that long.
Chuck Norris Invasion USA, 2 little Mac 10s right
Aren't
here.
you sawing off the barrel? You don't give a shit if it's illegal. You're gonna black.
If you're gonna go through your house, urban combat style, you've got the short gun.
She does none of that.
Apparently, also her security system is from the 80s.
Listen, she doesn't have a job. She can't afford the newest stuff.
That's right. That's right.
I don't even know how she could afford this place.
She just got $3,000.
That's true.
She spent
Okay,
all on
first of all-
mannequins to shoot.
She can afford those mannequins.
She affords it from
can
all the
afford
podcasters.
all of. I mean, did you see all that hardwood paneling? That shit's not cheap.
I love how you guys have all checked out so much at this point. It's all about just her choice of weapon, the wood pan, the aesthetic choices of her house. Did you see those fake granite countertops in her kitchen? It was clearly synthetic.
I checked out to the point that I was having trouble keeping my eyes open for this denouement.
Well, how much Grey Goose did you have?
I will say this:
Very little.
I will say this: the
It
older
was
couple,
tempered by the popcorn and the butter.
the older couple that was sitting right next to me, got up and left.
At what point?
Probably about 30 minutes before the end.
Okay.
Wow.
What were they doing there anyway?
Oh, he was a Carpenter fan.
Oh.
I watched it at the Alamo, and they do run the vignettes before it, and then they do the whole silence your cell phones. They actually had a John Carpenter pop up on there, and it was like, well, it's like old John Carpenter always said, and I giggled. I mean, I absolutely just laughed out loud, and the old guy kind of looked at me. I was like, I'm sorry, that's a Big Trouble Little China. He's like, yeah, I know.
Oh, so you tried to school him, and
He was like,
shut
But he
up,
didn't
kid.
find it humorous.
shut up, kid.
Anybody need a beer? You need a beer.
Yes, I need.
That's when you should have said, like, a cab driver told me. Like, he said, the white tiger.
As I get some more beers,
Yeah, you might as well.
I'm going to go ahead and give this beer and cigar a thumbs up.
Yeah. Thumbs up. Agreed.
I thought they worked fine together. The beers have been serving a beer's purpose in aiding the good times, and that's what I'm looking for tonight, and it did its job. I found the Evil Catfish anything but evil.
Good times? Like I said to the Rev, ain't nothing but a good time.
We've come full circle. Yeah, it's the beer's done great, and boy, that cigar really came alive there at the end.
It really did.
Did you notice that the whole upstairs of Lori's house was an exact replica of the Doyle house where her final confrontation, as far as the style of the closet doors,
Yes.
where the balcony and the window placement. She even had a model of the Myers house,
Yes.
a dollhouse, up there among all her mannequins. You know, basically, it's exact copy of where Michael hunted her down 40 years ago. Only she's now the hunter. She's
And
hunting him down.
again,
And
it's
she
a
is
nice
a
touch.
piss poor hunter.
But you've hinged your whole movie on these little touches.
You have to get past the
But that's
nods.
their whole, rather than a narrative that's cohesive, that's the whole thing is the audience is gonna just sprout wood over all these little nods we do. We're gonna keep doing that, and that's our movie.
Well, they
Sorry, it's
should
not.
have put the brakes on that in this last final act, because you should be so invested at this point, ideally, that you only
You
want
don't have to go
you don't
through
you don't
that.
want to see that.
Right.
Like Yak said, he got distracted by it to where it took him out of the action. You don't want that. If you've done your job at this point, you care so much about what's going on. You don't need little throwaway touches. Remember the hallway closet door in the first one where it just swung open on its own as Lori was going, and Linda's body was in there? We have that again happen, but it's Dad Ray, the Wiz's dead body. She finds in the closet. I already mentioned the dollhouse. Finally, Michael attacks Lori from behind a giant stack of mannequins. She's mannequins all over this place. And he's hiding behind it, and he finally comes out and he attacks her in the upstairs bedrooms. We saw her, there was a scene earlier, we see her out in the woods. She puts these mannequins out and practices
Targets.
That was
her
another,
rifleman skills.
that was another thing that could have been cool. The scene with the mannequin, just again, poor execution. That could have been cool, where like you didn't know what if you stand
No,
there.
if we panned over just across the room and he was just standing
there.
and you just caught it, that's classic stuff.
Didn't happen though.
Didn't happen. And he grabs her and he throws her out the 2-story window. But when Michael walks over the window and is looking down on her crumpled body, he hears all of a sudden her granddaughter Allison arrive. She's been running through the woods ever since the car thing, and somehow she gets into the compound.
It's the easiest thing to get into.
No fencing.
This is the worst compound.
It's for 40 years. Lori really dropped the ball on this
She
compound.
didn't plan well.
Tut, my abandoned sawmill was going to
Sawmill's
be
gonna be
locked
locked
down a
down.
lot better than this.
Yeah.
Well, Myers hears her calling out,
Can't wait for
Mom,
the sawmill, man.
Mom. She calls Lori, I thought it was weird, grandmother, not grandma. Grandmother.
Grandmother. I never called my grandma that.
Who's that?
Grandma.
Is that what the Illinois people say?
Who's ever said that? Grandmother?
Grandmother.
Excuse me, grandmother.
If you've ever called your grandma grandmother, I'll give you a shirt. Boy, I'm really stretching here. Some dude home. Yeah, all right, I called her grandmother.
Give me a shirt.
Did you ever call your grandma grandmother?
No.
Nobody has. Well, Michael's distracted from looking at Lori by Allison's voice. And then when he looks back down, Lori's gone. Again, exact replica of what happened in the first one when Michael
Bruce
was on
Ross
the ground.
says, "Awesome work, guys."
Well, thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Appreciate it.
We suggested earlier that Tatuaje make a Bruce the Shark monster cigar.
That is true.
Full circle. Full circle.
Well,
Sort of. So he looks down, and 60-year-old Lori has, after flying through the 2-story window down on the ground, she's gone. which of course is a throwback to when Myers disappeared.
Oh my god! Oh!
I liked it.
I bang my shin on a kitchen cupboard door.
I'm not getting up that one.
I am down for the count. I'm bitching about it for hours. She's 60 years old. She just flew out a 2-story window after getting banged up against that front door 1,000 times.
Brack out of her.
She's up.
But it's a throwback.
I like, but no. It's not just a throwback.
It's all that Activia yogurt she's been eating. Her bowels are... Doctor, what, if you ate that much Activia yogurt...
Activia yogurt, Mr. Cade, let me tell you that, my God, your intestinal fortitude is off the charts. My God, every fiber of her being must be burning with sensation and endorphins.
With fiber.
With fiber. Every fiber of her being is burning with fiber.
Will she have a bowel movement by 2 a.m.?
Well, Tuttle, that's a great question, and you know what? I think it's far too early to tell.
For you folks at home, that is the quote that the doctor says on these amazing Tuesday Night Cigar Club shirts. Doctor, do you think our drinking might have a podcast problem? In my opinion, it's far too early to tell. And look, that's you, Doc.
Hey, that's me. And the great thing about the size of the double XL T-shirt, ladies and germs,
it's an
is that
XL.
On a windy day, you've got yourself a little bit of a hang glider.
I don't know what it's like, but my wife keeps telling me, put that Mincy shirt back on. Come on.
Something to explore there, Doctor.
Come on.
Well, Tut. All in the family, brother.
Yeah, you're not allowed in my house. Never.
Probably shouldn't be.
So 60-year-old Lori is up and at him. Michael
I have to
starts heading downstairs.
Okay, so one of the themes through this movie is that, Lori is so fixated with Michael that it's become more about her fixation with him than his fixation with her.
Again.
And so now you have like her basically kind of becoming the Michael Myers.
She's the hunter.
Right.
Correct.
And I think that's what that scene was trying to do.
Oh no!
I think that
it was very on the nose.
Right, there was more of a purpose to that scene than just the throwback.
But I got it way earlier than that. That this was her doing all this.
Yeah,
he's gonna start killing people because he's there. He didn't want to be there. He got stuffed in a car and dropped off. But it's kind of like a homeless guy. You give him a ride somewhere, and it's like, all right, I'm here now.
We've removed.
I can't go anywhere else. My little town, the cops used to, if there was transients or homeless people, they'd pick them up and they'd drive them down to where Cody lives.
Thanks.
You're their problem now. That's kind of like Myers. Hey, here he is. All right, well, I'm going to kill people because I'm here, but I'd kill wherever I am. I doubt he even recognizes Lori. She doesn't look anything the same. There's a good chance he doesn't even know what's going on.
Probably not.
It's kind of like, I don't know.
If only he would speak to us. Say something.
Say something. It's a good point because my whole thought was, in comparison to H2O, where part 2 is still part of the narrative.
He's hunting his sister.
And she's the sister. That is why he would, when he finds out where she is, go after her. Whereas in this case, because in the original part 2, we all know the background. Carpenter never envisioned that. They threw money at him. They wrote that in. You kind of had to have a reason for him to want to go after her in part 2. The minute you decide you're franchising, you got to give it purpose. In this movie, which is a part 2, it's a good point that you made. If Sartain doesn't drive him there, he's never going after her.
No,
he would have just been killing people in the town.
Yes, he wasn't rummaging through files trying to find where Lori is. He'd care less.
He was not a detective.
Maybe that's how he figured out where Lori was, because of the police files that he got out of
No, he just grabbed the white pages. Everyone can find her.
Everyone knows where she lives.
Yeah, there's nothing going on.
And apparently everyone can get in.
Nothing going on at the Rotary Club. No, the Strode House. All right, I'll go down there and kill a few people.
Well, Allison joins her mom down the basement. Karen sees her childhood rifle. She's been very hesitant to grab any guns, and she's anti-violence. But she sees, at this point, things are escalating. She sees her childhood rifle that she learned to shoot. Her whole childhood was Lori teaching her how to survive. how to fight back. She sees her childhood rifle with her initials carved in the stock, and she grabs it.
It's a little Christmas Story rifle, a little red rifle.
Oh, Red Rider.
But as they look up the basement stairs, remember it was the basement entrance was sealed by that giant kitchen island. Michael just rocks it a little bit and tips it over. He's not showing himself at the top of the basement until Karen's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Her fear draws him out, and he appears at the top of the stairs. To which all of a sudden, Karen's like, gotcha. Or bullseye, or whatever she says.
Almost gotcha.
And she shoots
Was it
him
gotcha?
in the head
She shoots him right in the head.
with a rifle
It was a trap. She's faking the whole time. All of a sudden, she's
20 feet away. I'm sorry.
He's Michael Myers.
No, I'm sorry.
He's Michael Myers.
I'm sorry.
got again.
His brains, his head would have fucking exploded.
Again, I hit my shin on a kitchen cupboard door. I'm out for hours.
You can't say, "Oh, you just nicked his head." If you had grazed his head, you would have peeled away half of his fucking skull at 20 feet with that rifle.
I clipped my fingernails today, and it still kind of hurts.
It just
All right, we've established a few things. TNCC is a bunch of pussies.
this is when I checked out. I was like, if that son of a bitch gets up after you shot him in the fucking head at 20
He's
feet,
Michael Myers.
no, it doesn't work
It's
that
not
way.
the Michael of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
This is Michael Myers, human being.
Although he got up after Loomis shot him 5 times, so that's been established.
But
Not in the head.
Loomis
Not in the
was
head.
maybe drinking heavily. He might have missed a few times.
Loomis had a flask. He had a flask.
he was shot 5 times, missed all vital organs.
I shot him 6 times. Well, I fired 6 shots.
I'm sure one of them hit.
One of them had to hit him.
Dude, that's when Bracco's like, no man could take the... I'm sure... what have you been drinking?
They walk in the backyard where Myers'
like
body hit the
Mom
ground. There's all these dead birds lying around. You just shot up a bunch of blue jays, you dumb shit.
I'm going to need more wild turkey.
6 bluebirds. Filling station in flames. That was a liquor store you robbed.
You shot the clerk. You
He's not human. No, maybe you're not human.
Well, Lori's suddenly back in the house, and she starts stabbing Michael dozens of times as he lays on the kitchen floor. The ladies then start to push him down the basement as Allison is climbing out of the basement. He grabs her leg and tries to drag her down with him, but she then grabs a knife. There's knives everywhere. She grabs a knife off the floor, stabs his hand, and crawls back out. Suddenly, some metal bars are released across the top of the basement entrance, sealing Michael from getting out. It's not a cage for the Strode family of this house anymore. It's what it's always been designed to be, a trap for Michael. And Lori remotely then, with the remote control, activates a system of gas tanks that release gas throughout the house, Tut style. And she lights a flare and drops it down.
It's true.
She lights a flare, drops it down the basement, and the whole shit box goes up in flames. Okay. The Strode women then flag down a chicken truck driving by, and they climb in the back.
Nice little scene of
Last
Michael
house.
staring up through the
Well,
stairs.
that
with
and just
flame.
like another heroine, Sally from Texas Chainsaw, she
Yeah.
was rescued by a passing
That poor bastard.
truck. Yeah, that poor guy. Not the guy who saved her, the guy in the truck who tried to help
son
her.
of a bitch, yeah.
He's always one of those guys to me, like the most unfortunate dudes. And
Last.
he stopped like the old dad stopped at the beginning of this film. Never stop.
No.
Never try to help anybody. That's the
keep going.
That's the lesson.
Self-preservation.
Tut, just party.
Call 911. Hit the accelerator.
Well, as we look at them in the back
I'm
of the,
sorry, sir. You failed to render aid. Fuck you.
as we pan across them in the back of the truck, Lori's holding her bloody stomach. You know, she was fucked up pretty bad. There's a shell-shocked Karen, I guess, just kind of sitting there. And then we see that Allison is sitting there still holding the knife.
Oh, God.
And they kind of linger on that,
They do. Are you ready for Allison the Slasher?
which would make no sense.
No.
The
Well,
end-
we never see Myers really die. He's
No.
down there. in
well,
the
we
basement.
see the flames all around him, but he's just sitting there. No blood on his mask from getting shot in the head, by the way. But he's just sitting there looking up as the basement erupts in
It's a pretty
flames,
scene.
and
I like
and
it.
the house burns down. And then boom, the end credits begin, and the credits play out. But at the very end of the credits, we hear Michael breathing through his mask. Is this the end? For us, it is the end. Movie's over. It's the end.
But with a $77 million opening weekend, it most certainly is not.
Tut, honestly, walking in there, did you think we were gonna like it?
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. I felt that y'all. All right, this is gonna sound mean, and I don't mean it to be. I figured that y'all wouldn't because, like a lot of fan bases that are hardcore, you never like reboots, you never like the sequels, and
dude.
I'm not talking about you guys.
I know,
I'm
but you're
just
talking to
about
two guys
fan
who
bases.
you're talking to two guys who put Halloween 4 right up
Right.
there with the original almost. You're talking about guys who love
Trust me,
Halloween 6.
Trust me, get me going.
Give me a good Halloween story. We're on board.
Trust me, get me going on The Last Jedi, and I will just crap all over that stuff. So, I mean, I'm trying to be pragmatic there. I thought that there was some cool elements to it. This was kind of a Halloween sequel, but it was kind of disjointed to where I could definitely see where you guys would come in and attack certain points of it. I didn't expect y'all to crap on it as much.
Well, we were actually,
But at the same time, hearing your explanations, I understand it.
So, you make a very good point about people who are fans of a series. Given Resurrection, and much more so the Rob Zombie films, my expectations, I can honestly say that ever since the first trailer, I went into this with an open mind, as much as that's possible for me to do, which it is because there hasn't been a watchable Halloween movie in 20 years since H2O, which in my review you'll see it's not remarkable, but it's a watchable movie.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a good one in 30 years since Part 4. Part 6 is okay, but
it's a fun.
so with Resurrection being the last of the, that part of the universe, and the Rob Zombie movies, as horrible as they were, there's no need to talk about them. That enables me to go into this with a totally open mind, and
I wanted to like it.
and accept the timeline, accept where they're rebooting it to. That none of that. I'm going into it like you. I'm going into it open-minded. I thought it was a piece of shit, and I thought that I was indifferent to every performer other than Jamie Lee. I thought that it was a mishmash. It was disjointed. They tried to include too much. You at one point earlier in the show said it's too long. It was 106 minutes when most of them are 20 minutes shorter than that. I don't have a problem with the length of a film. It's got to be tight.
Yeah, but your story has to go.
The jokes fell flat. The narrative was poor. The extreme close-ups of everything gave me a fucking headache. I wanted to like it. I went in open-minded. All of that. I feel that if we're looking for villains, I don't have anything against Danny McBride, but him and Gordon Green, we gotta blame them. When Judy Greer, when Will Patton, when these people are just falling flat, when you just don't care, when you just don't care about the granddaughter. Okay, yeah, that's got to be on the performers too. They've got some culpability. They can't be blameless. We really got to blame them. It's a poor narrative. It was poorly paced. It was very stilted. I'm ready to get out of the theater when it's over with. I'm sorry. I thought it was a piece of shit. That's my feeling on it.
Much like our fans, it was poorly paced. I was ready to get out of this feed.
Yeah, I was ready to get out of here. I was indifferent to the doctor. I was indifferent to Tut. Didn't care whether he lived or died.
Say something!
Say something! Speak to me! It was like Mike Damone says in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You don't care if she comes, stays, lays, or prays. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It was.
I can understand. I truly can.
We're gonna see a sequel. It's gonna happen because it made a lot of money. I wanted to like it. I'm sorry. I thought it was a piece of shit.
I did see some comments on the Facebook live feed where they said that Cade is the Jamie Lee Curtis of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast.
I've been watching it all night.
The ugly wrinkled one?
They never said that.
Oh, doctor.
Hey, you fired me, I fired you. I like Jamie Lee. I liked her.
I wanted to. I walked in wanting to like
Didn't like
it.
anything else.
For me, it just got sunk on the performances, which goes ultimately to the director. The mis-execution of what could have been cool set pieces just weren't shot and edited correctly, in my humble opinion. You could have had some really memorable stuff, especially that backyard scene. Man, it was there.
It was
there, and they missed.
But I think that was kind of like the summation of the whole movie.
Yeah,
it was there, but
you just missed. With
I also read there was a 2 hour and 15-minute initial cut.
Yeah.
And so they had to cut like 29 minutes to get to what they had.
I hope it was more jokes,
Oh, Jesus
because
Christ.
those were just so good. One of my favorite film writers online, Scott Mendelson, who writes for Forbes, said this, and I do agree with this. In North America, the movie's already more successful than The Predator. In one weekend, The Predator reboot that just came out, Terminator Genesis, and Alien Covenant. 3 other franchises that have not done well over, coming back after a hiatus. One weekend, the new Halloween film has already bested all those movies. That this successful straight-up sequel featured not just the return of the iconic villain, but also the iconic hero, played by the original actress, shouldn't go unnoticed. Halloween didn't just make 76 million domestic and 91 million worldwide in 3 days because it was another Halloween movie, or even that it was another Halloween movie from Blumhouse that boasted unconventional filmmakers. A big part of the film's success was that it connected directly back to the John Carpenter Deborah Hill original, while bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis in her star-making role. Yes, they played that card in 1998 with H2O, but the forces of pop culture and nostalgia are far more potent than they were back in 98. For longtime fans of the Halloween franchise, Laurie Strode is as essential as Michael Myers. Michael without Laurie is like the Joker without Batman. I think there's something to that.
There is, as long as
my God, if she wasn't in this,
but
I would have literally nothing.
But there is, as long as you accept the premise that Michael is going after Laurie. Now, if you go with the Loomis strategy of this is just a great white soulless killing machine, it doesn't matter if Laurie's there.
Can you imagine? Well, whatever their dynamic is, whatever their motivations are, she's there. Can you imagine this film if they had just cast this girl as, and it was just Michael coming after Judy Greer and his daughter?
But that's a fault of the story. That's not a fault. It just.
So do you? Am I finally going to hear what I want to hear you say? Which is, other than Jamie Lee Curtis, this movie was a piece of shit?
There were moments that I liked, that I thought worked, style-wise and character-wise. I actually didn't have a problem with Michael in this film. I thought the guy playing him had good physicality. I thought he handled himself, because there's been some bad Michaels in that suit and under that mask. I thought the guy playing Michael, unlike you, Doc, I actually liked the Halloween 2 throwback of him going into the first few houses and kind of getting his mojo back after 40 years of just kind of killing some random. that scene kind of worked for me. But boy, the fact that the crux of this was on so many characters that I thought were terrible. Dr. Sartain, didn't like him, didn't believe any of that storyline. The daughter and the granddaughter were terrible. You can't build this thing without credible, really good acting. It's a movie. At the end of the day, you can have a great script or a great idea on how to bring this back. It's the actors that are going to bring it to life.
Yeah, but at the same time,
drop the fucking ball.
But at the same time, this didn't have a great script. It didn't have great actors.
No Halloween movie has a great script. No Halloween movie is going to be like, man, no. It's always good.
You put Pleasance and Charlie Cyphers in a cop car, and those two fucking titans are just kicking ass with their dialogue.
Yes, because it's simple, straightforward, realistic dialogue. if you had Loomis and Charlie Cyphers talking about what kind of sandwich meat they prefer,
Yes.
because you think and your buddies think in the writing room
funny.
that this is
Come
funny.
on, Lewis and the religious nut going down the road where Loomis takes a swig off the flask. That was a great scene.
Hey, did you guys see that truck in one shot in this that said Resurrection Church on the side? Wasn't that where the preacher was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you agree,
Well,
though,
and
that
like I
they
said,
hinge so much on those goddamn little throwbacks?
It did.
Like, ooh, look, the Halloween 3 mask. Oh, I got chubby.
Well, you know,
That's one of the things that
I think
like,
you're trying to please too many people because you're like, all right, we're going to ignore all these films that you people care about, but we'll give you every 5 seconds a little something.
You've got to have a
those.
narrative.
well, you know, I love the fact that everybody in Haddonfield watches nothing but 80s television shows and movies. I mean, that was my thing. Like I said, every
Repo Man was on the TV.
Voyagers.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I was
They
just
hinged the movie on it. I'm sorry, they thought that all these little bitty little things
And I
were
was-
going to get everybody so excited.
and that tore me out of the scene every single time. Like, who the fuck would be watching Repo Man in 2000? What?
2001.
I mean, I'm just sitting here going, what? Why? Is
Maybe
it,
Emilio Estevez. He's not doing much these days.
and I mean, I literally said that out
But I think-
loud.
I-
and
I was in
think-
Repo Man.
You were sharing the Grey
comes down-
Goose with me.
I think that comes down to creating a believable world, and this world just wasn't believable.
Well, I mean-
because like it's one thing to have all these throwbacks, but if you're going to create it in the modern times, the fact that the podcasters didn't even have a microphone with them, it was like they were like, we don't
Did you notice that, or did I?
care about any of that. No, actually, I didn't notice that, to be honest. But I can see where that just knocks you out of it. If they miss on that interesting detail,
Well,
I mean, the whole world itself is just kind of
Well,
like,
and like I said,
weird.
And you know, as you said, we've been saying it just disjointed. I mean, he goes through that one woman house, and I think it was the woman with the first woman he killed with the hammer. She has a rotary dial phone on the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I
1970s
didn't
brown
see that.
plastic
No, I did.
rotary
Yeah.
dial phone. I'm like, who the fuck has that?
Well, see that it's kind of interesting. Like,
And so literally my brain, I'm looking at the scene because I'm looking at that set like, what are you showing me?
Well, it's one thing that it's kind of interesting because, like, when we reviewed It Follows, and we talked about how the technology was disjointed to where
But that was an intentional.
They,
They created an alternate kind of world.
right, but still, that world was very believable. This world was just kind of weird. I mean,
It was a mix. It was just a mashup of everything. And don't get me wrong, I love Easter eggs in movies and in TV, but I don't think. And the whole point of an Easter egg is you don't point out
Draw
the
it to it.
Easter egg. The dollhouse of the original, I thought was great. It could have just be in the corner.
But
Just
no,
leave it in the
they're
corner.
gonna let rack focus.
And
in
then
on
we've got
that.
it. Oh, and the house is burning. We're going to show you the dollhouse burning.
Right.
And then
well, like
the TV.
like-
you didn't need to linger on that.
But because I'm a Star Wars fan, I will relate it to it. I love Rogue One. Rogue One is an awesome movie, and I love it. But there's a scene in there where they show like the blue milk, and it was like so prominent in that scene. It was just kind of, remember this? Remember this? It didn't need that.
No.
But this movie was like, for 70% of the movie was like, remember this? Remember this? They relied, kind of like what Doctor was saying, they relied so much on the remember this. No, you have to have a story there. You have to create something.
I thought it actually. I'm going to go against the group here. I thought it actually had it's a Halloween sequel. Usually these things are straight to video at this point. I thought the story was, a crazy doctor who orchestrates this entire thing to drop Michael into it.
That's fine, but
That is the
but
story.
show that shit.
That is the story.
But no, y'all talked about, all right, so you were like, all right, the doctor created the bus crash, created all that shit. show the Doctor doing that.
Well, I'm
and
not opposed to making the audience use their brains a little bit.
I understand that, but if that's your premise, how the Doctor created this to like do this,
the Doctor shouldn't have disappeared for the entire middle 60% of the film if he was truly orchestrating this.
It should have been, even though it's not a precedent with the original, if you're going to do it this way, you should have made it more like a mystery, like
kind of. But I'm
not saying I need to see the Doctor as Michael's killing people over in the shadows, twirling his mustache.
No,
no, but it strikes back to a theme that's kind of prevalent throughout this entire podcast. The elements were there; they were just poorly executed. I understand their intent of what they were trying to do there.
Oh yeah.
It didn't sync up. It just didn't flow.
It was a poor shooting script. It was in my opinion, the actors were not given direction. The really what could have been memorable set pieces, 'cause that's what these movies are about ultimately. The cool kills could have been a lot. There were some cool kills, but some of the ones that could have been really memorable fell short.
And once again, especially with these, the implied violence is always stronger than what you see.
Well, no, but I mean, you can't in today's day and age, especially, what they're shooting for here. You got to show some of the goods, and I get that.
You can show some of the goods, but I agree with Cody though that there's an art, there's a tact.
Yeah, but at the same point, you were like, man, that shot of that knife going through that chick's throat was awesome. That's not implied.
It was, but at the same time, the off-screen kill of the hammer was pretty cool too.
I'm saying there needs to be a balance.
There was a whole bunch of. One of the things that made the original Halloween so spooky for me as a non-horror fan, the hedgerow shot. I mean, she looks back. There's nothing there. The camera cuts back. Michael's there. She looks back a third time. There's nothing there. That shit was just so visceral. It was so cool. To me, this movie, it misses character.
He had a they definitely failed on that. He has a skill set that we saw in the first, where he can come and go and disappear. Whether it's in the bed sheets out in the backyard, or whether it's behind a tree or a hedge, or outside the school. Michael has this way of being there and then not being there, and they didn't.
I love that setup.
And I do too. And they didn't do any of that in this film. And the one scene where they could have really done some cool stuff with it, the motion lights, they just completely botched. All right.
I will say this: I still kind of enjoyed going to the theater and seeing it.
It was interesting to watch it with an audience and see when the
audience was laughing.
Like I said, when they
points.
gasp at the baby, when they laugh at the little babysitting kid. I don't go out enough. For me, more than anything, this movie reaffirmed why I don't go out. I don't like being around the general public.
I kind of liked it. I actually did kind of like it.
I'm like Lori. I got my compound. I can wait for VOD and just rent movies. I don't need to be going out and mixing it up.
I kind of liked it. I kind of like.
Well, you're a much more social person than I am.
I kind of like that communal herd mentality.
Once you've discovered going to movies that started around 4:50 or 5 o'clock on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, you never go to a movie on a weekend ever again.
I saw this at 1:10 on a Sunday.
Oh dear God!
I can top you at 2:20 on a Saturday, opening weekend.
4:50 on Monday. 3 people there plus me. In the giant XD theater.
Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, I'm going to. So Brooke won a T-shirt tonight.
Brooke won a T-shirt.
She came in and saved the day with the movie trivia.
Congratulations, Brooke.
Is there anybody else, or am I just gonna hold on to the other one?
I would go with.
How about Bruce, who gave us a shout out?
Man, I want to say Bruce, but he's a college friend of mine, so I don't know how that works.
I'm gonna deny Bruce.
All right then, Derek.
As a Sam Houston man, I'm going to deny any nitwit who would show his face on the Stephen F. Austin campus.
No, I don't.
I think that's where they filmed that asylum scene, isn't it?
It was cool.
They just got some post-grad guys out there and gave him some Slim Jims.
Much like me, I don't think he graduated Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, well.
It reminds me of that American Dad episode where Steve goes to visit
I'm
Arizona
sorry if I
State.
just outed you there, Bert.
And he gets locked in the basement for 5 days, and then Roger the Fish is like, Steve, you graduated. He's like, what? I've been locked down here all week. Remember when you answered that question in class? That was the minimum requirement to graduate from Arizona State. And he shows up and they're like, Steve, who had been tortured in the basement, spoke for 20 minutes about hot pants pee hole. He was given a doctorate and 5 Bud Ices.
All right, let's bring this party to a close. Well, we'll keep partying after the.
What's up?
When Facebook Live's off, we can finally talk normal. Beer.
Big thumbs up.
3.5.
Oh, it's always gonna be
Cigar.
3 3/4. I'm going to thumbs up on it.
3.5.
I liked it. Picked up strength at the end. Good flavors.
Movie.
Can't believe I'm halving all of this shit.
Half a thumb up on the movie. You know what? I'll give you a half. That equals 1 thumb up.
1 out of 4.
a sellout.
Look,
Actually, you know what?
no, you can't introduce another thumb into the mix. That's what she said.
There goes my old medical practice.
I will say this: I switched
Can't
to
hear
the
that.
Boondock Saints,
Yeah.
and man, all right. So you got
Black Label Trading Company.
classic Nicaraguan, got that rustic feel to it. Got the nice leather, nice earth tones, spices on the light up. I dig it.
A good follow-up. Probably what you wanted to follow up the Michael with. Get some of that stuff you wanted out of the Michael that you didn't get. Yeah. All right. So check out the Michael from Tatuaje. Go get you one. See if you agree with us. Go get you a Evil Catfish IPA, Barrow Brewing. Get yourself a Boondock cigar from Black Label.
One day I'm going to make you watch the Boondock Saints.
I have watched it, and I'm going to reserve saying anything because I like the Black Label folks, and I don't want to say anything
Let's
about.
thank everybody that joined in tonight.
Thank you, Doctor, for reminding me to thank you. Thank them.
I appreciate everybody for their everybody for joining us, everybody for commenting. Certainly Mr. Derek Matthews, certainly Rev, certainly Brooke. And we'll even give a shout out to Tut's buddy Bruce and everybody else that joined us this evening. We appreciate you joining us and appreciate your
Bruce,
feedback and your questions.
Rev, Mike,
Hope you enjoyed it.
Micah.
You start sounding like Judge Kavanaugh over there. Scooter, Skeeby.
Did you see that Matt Damon skit on Saturday Night Live?
We like beer.
I was lifting weights every night with
beer.
Squee
Have a college with Brew,
PJ,
Squee.
and Donkey Tonk Doug.
Oh. All right. Tut links. You probably don't need to give the Facebook link on this one.
Yeah, join us on Facebook because, actually, you've already joined us on Facebook. Yes. Tuesday Night Cigar Club. You can join us on Instagram at TNCC_podcast. You can join us on Twitter at TNCCcast. Join us on YouTube, Tuesday Night Cigar Club.
Hey, come out in November and party with us at the Louisiana Barn Smoker.
It will be the final barn smoker of the year.
TNCC will be there, and we will be smoking barns.
Oh my goodness.
Many
It
barns.
took me like 4 weeks to get the barn smoke out of the Kentucky barn smoker. Those boys can smoke some shit.
Yes, I can.
And I am looking forward to Louisiana because we've met the dude that owns the farm there. We've met him like 3 or 4 times.
No, he doesn't know the fun.
Okay. So he just like, have I been talking to the wrong guy?
No, he's a broker. He buys tobacco from.
Oh,
he
okay.
doesn't know the guy.
Much
He
like the
doesn't
nation
know
of
that?
Turkey, the doctor is not allowed in the state of Louisiana.
Okay.
That's true. That's true.
Alright. Maybe I
you-
shouldn't have gone back to that guy's hotel room. I'm sorry.
You guys can
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Speaking of 2 thumbs down.
No, wait.
Were you wearing the pumpkin shirt?
It's more like 2 thumbs up, but wait, what?
How about a shout out to Fritz Beer Music?
Woo! For Spear Music.com.
All night long, we have been listening to live at Elijah P's, the Bishop's double CD, available now at fritzbeermusic.com.
Pick up the Bishop's double CD because friends.
Doctor called me today on his way down here from Dallas, and I heard Fritz Beer on the stereo. He bought the CD. He's been rocking it.
Now I'm a friend of Fritz Beer, like we all are. Man, Bishop CD, that is some ass kicking music.
I'm a better friend of Fritz than you are.
If you want to buy,
I wasn't gonna get into a tinkling contest.
Fritz likes me better than all you guys.
if you want to buy some cigars, go to TuesdayNightCigarClub.com. Click on the Famous Smoke banner there, and then just
Fritz.
go do your thing. Also, Christmas is coming up. You want to buy the family some gifts? Go
you want to buy
the,
Matt Cade some gifts?
Okay, you want to buy the family some gifts? Go to Amazon.com. On our link there, it helps us pay some bills. You get 1% of that. It doesn't cost you anything more. Doesn't inflate the price.
Based on tonight's reactions, I'm going to guess the Tuesday Night Cigar Club T-shirts aren't a big gift, a big seller this Christmas Eve.
No, they will be. It's
It's what every member of the Doctor's family was getting for Christmas.
It's a cult classic. Cult classic.
Oh, great. A T-shirt with you on it.
Merry Christmas.
Love you, Ma.
Feliz Navidad.
All right. Well,
Derek, that was close enough. Lesker.
you got to try new things, I'm told. We tried Facebook Live tonight. Who knows if we'll try these.
I'm a fan of it. I am totally a fan of it.
You seem very happy over there. You're jumping around.
Oh,
You're on your phone. You're on the keyboard.
I've got my 5-year plan. This is starting the road. Now I just need to truncate our shows from 4 hours down a little bit.
I thought the show. How long are we been going on tonight?
My card's full, so who knows what the audio's like.
You actually didn't.
I did not start.
You didn't do your thing. I thought it'd be shorter because, like I said, I just walked out of the movie and wrote down notes. I was amazed by how much I actually kind of remembered walking out of the movie.
You memorized the entire film in triplicate.
Hey, if nothing else, this movie gave me a new John Carpenter CD, and I'm happy.
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
I'm happy for
Thanks
that.
for watching.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. It has been a whirlwind trying to get all these Halloween episodes out. It is done. Doctor, I owe you 2 cigar reviews to go with the final 2 Halloween things for the website. And then I'm out. I'm burnt out. I quit. I'm not fucking around anymore. I just can't do it. I'm out. Gonna go to rehab, try to get my life back in order, and
None of these things are happening.
Until next week, folks.
did I just say that all out loud?
Yes, you
Kate isn't going to any kind of rehab.
Well, boys, what do we say at the end of every episode?
Do it.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. Sayonara, motherfuckers. Sayonara. Facebook Live.
To learn more about the time I wore a pale, sinister Halloween mask and peered menacingly into unsuspecting people's homes, well, just look out your window. Boo! I'm just joking, naturally. Loyal listeners of the show will of course remember that I can't wear Halloween masks due to the severe latex allergy I discovered while vacationing in Thailand several years ago. Boy, oh boy, now that's a spine-tingling tale of terror that even the Crypt Keeper himself wouldn't want to share around the campfire. Ouch. In the meantime, to learn more about the cigars and other libations enjoyed on tonight's episode, you can visit tatuatecigars.com and barrowbrewingcompany.com. And remember, this is barrowbrewing.com. Barrow, like the earthen mounds that you would put dead bodies under if you were, say, living 1,000 years ago. And not barrel, the round keg-like thing that has been used to occasionally store dead bodies throughout history. For more on O'Brien's Irish Pub, the live music leader in Central Texas, please visit o'brienstemple.com and download their free smartphone app, where you'll find full beer listings including over 40 on tap, menu information, and a calendar of upcoming live events. To listen and purchase music heard on tonight's program, check out www.fritzbeermusic.com. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. This is Keith A. Howell saying until next time, friends, unless we see you sooner at the pub. So keep it smoky, and for God's sake, keep it ballsy as well.
Go sleep, I get up, go to work, get drunk, go to sleep, I get